the finest dead. The finest dead are smiling. All right, Nashville, we love you so much. Let's do 3.5 more minutes of raging. Thank you so much for being here. Ready? Here we go.
Woo! Good afternoon, friends. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's feeling okay. I hope everybody's having a wonderful, wonderful, lucky day. People, today was Lucky Loughran Day. Now, I hadn't watched it. Since it was a half a day, I figure I could go through both testimonies, just kind of pick and choose, whatever. We'll play it in faster speed and we'll talk about it and all that sort of stuff. Now, Lucky Loughran and I forget her name. It's Greek. It's Greek. I could tell her that it's a Greek name. That's all I can remember. But okay, Katrina K. Let's do that. Let's do Katrina K or Karina K. Karina K. Okay, excuse me. Karina K. Sorry about that. Let's see. Kolakethis? Kolakethis? See, like my ex, she was married before we got together, and she was married to a Greek dude, and she kept his name, and I could say that name, I could spell it, I'm not gonna say it, but I could say it, I could spell it, you know what I mean? Like, and it's fucking when I first heard it, I was like, what? But like but I could tell that it's Greek. You could just kind of tell. So but we're gonna go over her testimony because her testimony was actually pretty interesting. And I don't think that we got to her cross-examination yet. I caught the very ass end of it on Defense Diaries on their channel, and yeah. And I caught a bit and a piece of a cross-examination of Lucky, but not much. I only caught like a couple minutes of it. But I will oh, did she get cross? Okay. Thank you guys. So yeah, this will be more reactionary than anything else. Liz 88, welcome. Always with the gifted membership. We really appreciate it. It was like 2 questions. Okay. Okay. And thank you to Carla for becoming a new member. So yeah, yesterday Sergeant Nick Barros testified and was a rock star, an absolute hero. And I posted something from TikTok earlier today. We're gonna watch it because it's really important to understand why this case. There are so many reasons why Karen being acquitted here is so important. But most importantly, believe it or not most importantly, but equally as important, believe it or not, is the world seeing it happen. Because you shine a light on corruption and people will not stand for it. And then you get good people. And there are little things, little branches that stem out, little branches of blessings, little branches that stem out that fruit blessings. And I believe this with all my heart. I really do. And an interesting thing that happened here was I think it inspired other cops to speak out. And it's not just this that's doing that, it's the whole case that's doing that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this. It's about 2 minutes long, but I really think that people are going to be really inspired by it. Because I heard it and I was just fully inspired. I absolutely love this.
Many of y'all been watching this Karen Reed trial, but I will say, 25-year veteran, we find a dead guy in your front yard, we're stringing up crime scene tape, we knocking on your front door, and I don't give a damn.
Sound familiar? Sounds a lot like the LV cops, don't it? Like I could just hear Brian of the LV cops saying almost the exact same thing verbatim, right? So I love this. I love this. I absolutely love this. Now, what's interesting is this guy's also a canine cop, right? Yet nowhere in this video does he mention anything about the dog. But okay, cool. He doesn't have to. That's what I think is amazing. Is at no point does he have to. Now this guy's TikTok is what is it called? Bilbrey. Bake and Lay Bilbrey. Bilbrey 101. And that's his TikTok. So make sure to give him a follow. Make sure to let him know. As a matter of fact, I'll share the link in the chat right now. So here, what I want you guys to do, stop whatever you're doing. Give this guy a follow if you're on TikTok and show him some love. Let him know how important what he just did was. And we're not even done watching it. We're barely in it. We're barely in it.
But damn if it is a house full of cops. We're going to have questions. And one of the main questions we're going to have is, can we have consent to search the interior side of this house?
Dude.
If you deny that, I don't care if we got to call the man upstairs down here to get it. We get the search warrant on that house. That being said, always back to brothers in blue. Told the truth. You was within Florida state statute. You was within policy. And you felt like you was right doing what you did. Back you all the way to the end. 100%. You did some dumb shit. You got caught.
I believe everything this guy is saying. I believe that he's saying that shit with his whole fucking chest. This guy believes everything he's saying right now. I love that shit. This guy's like, yeah, hey, back my brothers in blue. You better believe it. If you did your job and you feel you're in the right, I got your back. If you follow the statute of the state, I got your back. But if you did some dumb shit,
you lied about it, deuces. That's on you, man. You messed up. Have a nice life.
That's you. That's on you, dude.
A pretty good read of body language. And I ain't saying them cops are lying when they're sitting up there.
Okay, stop real quick. Now, I consider myself something of a pretty good read of body language myself. And yeah, you're saying they're fucking lying. Much respect to this man right here, but I'm a pretty good read of body language myself. And this dude is absolutely fucking saying that he thinks those cops are lying. Just saying. I'm just saying.
Dang sure ain't being forthcoming with the information that they know. And by a long shot, I ended up finding myself in that situation. I can tell you one thing. They asked me for my phone. I handed it to them. Because I got 12,000 pictures of my friends and family and outings and my baby girl on this thing. And I ain't destroying it for nothing. I ain't pulling out SIM cards and putting it in 2 different locations, one on an Army base and all that BS. I handed it to them. Now, I may have some marketplace purchases that were a little bit questionable. Some of my Snapchats may be a little bit personal. But at the end of the day, there ain't nothing on my phone that I'm scared of anybody seeing. And I'll tell you what, when she's acquitted at the end of this thing, there's a prosecutor somewhere needs to be handing out some perjury charges, like popsicles on a hot summer day. That stuff corrupt all the way to the top. In my opinion.
Corrupt all the way to the top. Love that guy right there, bro. Fucking love that. We need more motherfuckers like that. That's what we need. That is what we need. Now, actually, I'll just kind of let this naturally play out. Let me just get into the testimony today. We'll come back to Twitter. We'll come back to that. But yeah, these things like that are, if you get a bunch of cops talking about this case like that on social media, you're going to have a country full of outraged people. Doesn't matter what political side they're on. You're going to have a country full of outraged people. It's just that simple. And that's what we need right now. That's what Norfolk County needs right now. That's what Massachusetts needs right now. Is for the whole country to be outraged for them. Not at them, for them. Because the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is still the people. That's the whole point. It's to remind everyone in this country that the Massachusetts, that the Commonwealth of Massachusetts still is the people of Massachusetts. And you get a bunch of cops making videos like that, you're on your way. You're on your way. Let me just all right. I'm just getting it up to speed, y'all.
Instructions and refrain from discussing this case with anyone since you left yesterday. Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Were you also able to follow the instructions and refrain from doing any independent research or investigation into this case? Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Did anyone happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case since we left yesterday? No. Thank you very much. So is there a new witness this morning?
Yes. Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning.
The defense calls Brian Loughran.
Okay.
Yeah. Brian Lucky Loughran, y'all. Now hold on a second. Just 1 second, because we we got to show something here real quick. And this is compliments of my boy Connor McManus. I'm laughing just thinking about it. This is compliments of my homie Connor McManus, dude. Okay, it's very important that we watch this before we watch the. Now, I think I'm gonna get dinged for copyright because I know this motherfucker don't care about that kind of music, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
Hey, what's that smell? It's you. Ooh.
Come on, play it one more time. There we go. On a loop. One more time.
Hey, what's that smell? It's you. Ooh.
Y'all gotta admit, man. Y'all gotta admit, like, you're not gonna have any more fun anywhere else, bro. Like, you're just not. It's just how it is. You're not gonna have any more fun on any other channel covering this, watching this trial. You're just not. Oh my god, dude.
During the case, I ran for the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Poor lady. At least she was checking. You know what I mean?
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes.
Good morning, sir. In a good loud voice, would you please state your name and spell your last name?
Sure, it's Brian Loughran, Loughran.
In what town do you live, sir?
I live in Canton.
Where did you grow up?
In Canton,
How long have you lived in Canton?
all my life.
Did you attend Canton Public Schools?
Yes, I did.
Through which grade?
I graduated from Canton High School,
What year did you graduate?
1990.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
Yes,
How many?
I have two brothers, one sister,
What are their names?
Christopher, Michelle, and Michael.
And where do you fit in the order?
I fit in between Michelle and Michael.
You're the second youngest.
Correct.
How old is your brother Michael?
Michael is 53.
What does he do for work?
He owns his own driving school, and he was a member of the select board.
And you say he owns his own driving school in which town?
Canton,
And you mentioned that he's a member of the select board for which town?
town of Canton.
And what is the select board in Canton?
It's the governing body for the town.
Having grown up in Canton, are you familiar with the Albert brothers?
Yes, I am.
Which ones?
All of them.
Can you name them?
Brian,
Okay, so just to put a little bit into context for some of you who are new to this, so the Canton Select Board is the governing body over the town of Canton. It's kind of like a group of people who are the mayor, right? And so his brother sits on that Canton Select Board, right? And Brian Albert's brother, Chris Albert, also sits on that select board. Now, he didn't at the time of John O'Keefe's death, but he does now.
Brian, Chris, Brendan, Keith, Kevin, and Tim.
Of those Albert brothers, whom do you know the best?
Chris,
How close in age are Chris and you?
very close. I believe I'm 2 years older than Chris.
How did you become familiar with Chris?
I went to elementary school, I went to middle school, and then he graduated from a different high school.
Was there any other relationship between the two of you beyond being classmates?
Yes, eventually I ended up working for Chris, delivering pizzas.
How old were you approximately when you started delivering pizzas for Chris Albert?
About 26.
Do you remember the name of his pizza establishment?
Yes, B&E Pizza,
Where is that located?
Canton Center.
How many years did you deliver pizzas for B&E Pizza and Chris Albert?
About 8 years.
Prior to January 29th of 2022, were you
8
friendly
years.
with Chris Albert?
Yes.
You previously mentioned that your brother Michael is a town selectman. What political office does Chris Albert hold?
Chris Albert is also a select board member.
And Chris Albert is Brian Albert's brother, obviously.
Yes,
So your brother and Brian Albert's brother are both town selectmen together.
correct.
How did you become familiar with Kevin Albert?
Through D&E Pizza and
And I'm
interact.
sorry, you said through D&E Pizza?
Yes, and interactions
That's
with
a
the,
lot of
the
shitty pizza.
DPW doing details and stuff.
Okay. First, with regard to D&E Pizza, you said there
Oh,
were
y'all
interactions
kill me in
with
this
Kevin Albert
bed, dude.
relating to that pizza shop. But what type of interactions?
He would come in. I'd be friendly. I'd say hello. Or there'd be deliveries to the Alberts residents, and I would make those deliveries.
You mentioned the DPW. I didn't ask you what you did for work, sir. What do you do?
I work for the DPW. I work in the highway division.
And the DPW stands for Department of Public Works.
Yes,
For which town?
town of Canton.
And what are your duties, or strike that, around January and late January of 2022, what were your duties for the DPW?
Now, you
I
guys
would
gotta understand. You guys gotta really try to appreciate the magnitude of this. Now, I'm not even local, right? But I have somewhat of an understanding of what's going on here. And the fact is, in the town of Canton, Lucky here, Brian Loughran Loughran, he's juiced in. You know what I'm saying? Like, he works for the city. He works for the town. His brother sits on the select board. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got nothing to gain here by speaking as a witness for the defense. He's got nothing. This is not good for him. You know what I'm saying? That right there is how it speaks to his level of honesty, his level of integrity. He's got nothing invested in this. Like he could lose a nice cush position in that town. Like, he's sitting pretty. His brother sits on the fucking select board. He works for the city. He's juiced. He's good. You know what I'm saying? Brad Blankenship, thank you so much. Sad thing is, if it weren't for Jen McCabe and her manipulation, this guy is sitting where Karen is. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the theory anyway. A lot of people feel like the original plan was to frame Lucky here, which is really shitty. But shit, if that's the truth, then maybe he's like, fuck these people. Fuck these people. Fuck my job.
Plow.
And how long had you worked, or to this day, how long have you worked for the DPW?
20 years.
Now, as a
20
DPW
years.
employee, how much contact do you have with the police department?
We have varying jobs that require police details.
So you're doing work, and there has to be a police officer there to oversee and direct traffic and things of that nature?
Correct.
How often have you worked in that capacity with Kevin Albert from the Canton Police Department?
About a dozen times.
And what was the nature of your relationship with Kevin Albert before January 29th of 2022?
Through D&E Pizza, I would the Alberts usually had family functions on a weekend, and I would make deliveries.
Can these last few jurors hear the witness? I just want to make sure everybody can hear. Okay. Now, what was how did you become familiar with Brian Albert?
Again, through D&E Pizzas and deliveries
Deliveries where?
to his residence.
Do you know
I
what his
wonder-
residence is or what the address is?
I wonder, like, if he took a lot of ball breaking from the Alberts, man. Like, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there and shit. You know what I mean? But like, this dude, like, he strikes me as the type that people might want to fuck with, but he also strikes me as the type that isn't gonna fucking put up with it either. You know what I mean? Just the fact that he's sitting there right now doing what he's doing is like, I don't give a fuck, dude. Like, I know what I saw. You know what I'm saying? Like, this dude's got balls of steel. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's fucking putting anything over on this guy. You know? Like, I feel like if you're the stupid motherfucker in the group, you're fucking with that dude. I've been rewatching like Punisher, the Punisher series. Charm Free, thank you so much. I fucking hate Brennan. He is a master of chaos and disorder. He's good, I'm telling you. Thank you, Charm Free. I've been rewatching the Punisher, right? And then this dude Jigsaw, Billy fucking whatever the fuck his name is. He goes crazy, right? Gets all cut up, whatever. And there's this scene where he's like all fucking scarred up and shit. You know what I'm saying? And he's just sitting there on the bus, minding his own goddamn business, but unstable as fuck. You know? And then like some idiot is sitting behind him going, "Hey man, what happened to your face, man? What happened to your face?" You know what I mean? Like, dude, if I see a dude like that, dude, I am not fucking with that guy. You know what I mean? Now, naturally, I'm the kind of person that, like, if I see somebody, I'm gonna go, "Hey man, what the fuck are you doing, dude? What's wrong with you?" You know, but if it's some, you know, like if I just see somebody who is like that dude, if I see him, I'm not fucking with him. You know what I mean? So maybe I'm misjudging, but it seems like the way the little bit of cross-examination that I caught from Brennan made me believe that Brennan took him as being simple, and the guy's not simple at all. At all. He's just got one of those fucking looks. You know what I mean? But he's not. Like, at all. This guy just knows his fucking job. He knows the town. He knows everything that he's supposed to know, probably better than anybody else does.
I do.
What is it?
34 Fairview Drive.
What was your understanding of what Brian Albert did for a living?
My understanding, he was a police officer for the city of Boston.
Now, you say that you made deliveries to 34 Fairview Road. How often? And was there a particular day of the week that you delivered more than others?
It's usually once a week, and it was usually on Sundays.
And that was to 34 Fairview Road?
Correct.
As of January of 2022, how many decades had the Albert family lived at that address, if you know?
As far as I couldn't give you a year, but I know as long as I've been in Canton, they've lived at that residence.
All right. Now, directing your attention to January 28th and 29th of 2022, were you on duty as a snowplow driver that night and early morning?
Yes.
When did you learn that you would be on duty?
Early January 28th, we were notified that we had a 2:30 start time.
And that would be 2:30 a.m.
A.m.
on January 29th?
Yes.
How did you learn that you would be on duty?
Our supervisors for the DPW would notify.
And we know the Alberts are just fucking bullies by nature, dude. Like, you just look at everything fucking Colin Albert. We've seen the video footage of Colin Albert. We've seen the kind of behavior Chris Albert engages in and encourages his children in engaging in. We saw that shit right in front of his own business. It's ridiculous. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Andrea, thank you. A confident over today says Lucky is now involved. Get the fuck out of here. Don't even get me started on fucking Twattendoffer, dude. She's fucking idiot. So we've seen Chris Albert behave the way that he has, and we also know from the last trial that Chris Albert and his wife and Colin Albert would do things to taunt John O'Keefe, like take pictures, because they would call him Nebercracker or whatever the fuck the guy's name was from whatever fucking Pixar thing that I don't watch. The get off my lawn guy, right? And they had this nickname for him, and then they'd fucking go and take pictures standing in his lawn and shit, just to taunt him and shit, knowing that it bothered him, not giving a fuck. So I imagine that they probably, Chris, dude, I've been a manager of a pizza joint, dude. Like, there are people, like there's a dynamic. It's like anything else. If you put cameras in any pizza joint, that, can you imagine working under me in a pizza joint? Can you imagine what that's like? You know what I mean? Like, I just had flashbacks and I kind of feel bad about a few things now. But dude, yeah, you otherwise you'll go crazy. So you got to do things. You got to fuck around. You got to like fuck around, dude. Dude, we get a new person. If there was a new person, never worked in a fucking in a kitchen or anything like that before, you fucking go and you say, hey, listen, there's nothing going on, right? Just to fuck with them. And everybody's in on it. Everybody plays along. Now it's some gaslighting fucked up shit, but it's a playful prank. It's not like I'm trying to fucking ruin you, but it's like you tell them, hey, listen, have you ever dealt with a walk-in cooler before? No, you've never dealt with a walk-in cooler before? This is what I'm going to need you to do, okay? I need you to get one of these plastic bags. Get the big ones, not the short kitchen ones. Get the big 30-gallon ones, okay? I need you to go into the walk-in cooler. We have to recycle the air. We got to do it like every couple of months. We get inspected on it. It's, so, but what you got to do is you got to go in there. You got to scoop the old air, come out of the walk-in and empty the bag out. And you got to keep doing that. You got to go in there, scoop the old air out, because because food, just like food goes bad, the aroma from the food gets in the air and it kind of stays there. So it doesn't matter how much you switch the food out, the air has to be recycled. And it's really important. It's a health department thing. So everybody else has got something to do. These guys are going on the road. I need you, man. I need you to step up, please. That's what you do. It's all in good fun. It's all in good fun. Okay. Anybody who's ever worked in a fucking kitchen knows this joke. And if you don't, you're welcome. So, and that's one of fucking many. That's right. When they start to walk, like that's also a good test to see what kind of stuff they're made of. You know what I mean? What kind of ingredients they got. Because, the ones that are like, I'm not fucking doing that, dude. What do you think? I'm fucking stupid? Come on. Air? No. There's no such thing. No way I'm doing that. And then you're like, all right. But if you fall for that, oh my God, bro. Yeah, you just went down a couple of notches and you got to climb back up. The movie Waiting is pretty exaggerated in comparison to any kitchen I've ever worked at. But it's accurate as far as like there are those antics. Not those antics, but those antics and the bullshit and everything that comes with it. All of that is pretty fucking accurate. But I'm saying, like, I feel like Lucky is the kind of guy you tried to pull that shit on, and he was like, dude, back the fuck off. You know what I mean? And like Chris Albert was probably the kind of guy always trying to bust this guy's balls. And he just took it, just fucking dealt with it. Like, whatever, dude. But didn't let it like get to him. You know what I mean? That's the vibe I'm getting off of this dude working at D&E. Oh, see, there you go.
Notify us.
Who was your supervisor?
William Walsh.
And what instructions were you given in terms of when you were to report?
We were to report at 2:30 in the morning and prepare our trucks for plowing.
What time did you actually get to the DPW that morning?
I got there about 2:15.
And when you say you got there, where did you go?
160 Bolivar Street.
And is that Bolivar?
Yes.
What is 160 Bolivar Street?
It is the DPW garage.
And when you go there, is there a requirement that you punch in?
Yes.
Did you punch in those early morning hours?
Yes.
Who was there when you got there?
Other DPW employees and William Walsh.
William Walsh being your supervisor?
Yes.
Were you assigned a specific route those early morning hours?
Yes.
What route was that?
Route 11.
What streets does Route 11 encompass?
Route 11 comes Cedar Crest from Dedham Street to the end. It encompasses everything from Kings Road
Yo, I'm so glad I sped this up. I can only imagine what this sounds like slow.
to Chapman Street.
And streets in between as well?
Yes.
And what street is in between Cedar Crest and Chapman?
There would be Spring Lane and Fairview.
What truck or snowplow were you assigned in those early morning hours?
I was assigned truck 30.
And does that have a particular nickname?
Yes, it's considered a Franken truck.
You said Franken truck,
Yes.
like Frankenstein.
Yes.
Why was it nicknamed Franken truck?
It was a very uncomfortable truck, and it had a lot of mismatch of parts to make it more convenient for the drivers.
I'd like to show you some photos, sir.
Listen, dude.
Okay.
Real quick, I got to talk about. So I had this driver, and his name was Farid. He was an Algerian. Okay, Algerian dude, he's a little short guy. And he was white as snow, but he was Algerian. And in Algeria, he was a dentist. Okay, but it's real hard to get work visas over here. It's real hard to get like able to get over here. And so he was married and he won a lottery. He won a lottery to get over here, but he can't practice, dentistry here. So he ended up working full time delivering food. And he did well. He was probably one of the, easily one of the best drivers that I ever had. Really good guy. But yeah. I remember he would lecture me. Farid would lecture me. He'd be like, Will, you need to fix your life, man. I swear to God. I remember it like it was fucking yesterday. He would go, Will, you need to fix your life, man. The drinking, the women's, you need to fix your life, man. What are you doing? What is this that you're doing? I want to get my wife here. I want to get my wife. I want to make love to her. The drinking, the women's. What is you doing with your life? Oh, I miss him. I got in contact with him like a few weeks ago, actually. Like we touched base, like, I hope you're doing good. We told him what I was doing, and he was like, fuck yeah, man. Like he got his wife over here. They have kids now. Like, it's awesome. So like Farid's doing fucking great. But yeah, that was, he was my homie, dude. Like I took him to a strip club for the first time because he didn't know what to do. He would not cheat on his wife. This is a guy, I'm telling you, this guy was a devout Muslim, right? He was not a radical in any way, shape, or form, but he was a devout Muslim. He really walked the walk, and he was really, really kind, like really kind. He's just a good guy. And, but he was like, he was in his late 20s, man. He's like, I need my wife, Will. I need my wife. And I was like, how about you go to a strip club. You know what I mean? Like nothing's gonna happen there. You don't, you know. He's like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, just whatever. You get a couple lap dances, and he's like, and then like he thought about it for like a couple weeks, and then he was like, let's go, you know. So I took him, right? And I feel really, really, really bad about this because he ordered a Red Bull. I ordered a real drink. I don't remember what it was, but he ordered a Red Bull, and they gave him a vodka Red Bull, and he accidentally took a sip out of it and then realized that it was alcohol in it. And he had never touched alcohol in his entire life. I felt this big. I felt horrible. I kept apologizing. I was like, oh my God. Because I mean, it wasn't me serving the drink, but with the language barrier, it was a loud club. The bartender assumed he was drinking. And, you know, what are you doing in a strip club if you're not drinking, you know, most of the time? And yeah, he was like super cool about it. He was like, God knows, I did not sin. God knows. And I was like, okay, cool. You know, I felt horrible, but he had a good time and he didn't ever cheat on his wife. And yeah, like Fareed is, yeah, man, solid dude. That's a dude that I'll never, ever forget in my life.
Mr. Loughran, I've placed 4 photographs in front of you. If you could just familiarize yourself with them and look up at me when you're done. Do you recognize what is depicted in those photos?
Yes, I do.
And did you take those photos
I did.
at my request?
Yes.
What do those photos depict?
They depict the inside of truck 30 or Franken truck.
And is there one that actually depicts the outside from the front as well?
Yes.
Do
Yes.
those photos fairly and accurately depict Franken truck as it looked on or about January 29th of 2022?
Yes.
I would offer those, Your Honor.
I have no objection to any of the photos.
All right, thank you.
Perhaps they should be marked with the next exhibit, number A through D.
Yes. And once that's done, you can feel free to publish.
Thank you very much.
All right, come on. We ain't got all day.
Misty and Eddie, why don't you take the photos so you'll know what they
Oh,
are?
great idea. Okay, could you explain what 211A depicts for this jury?
That is the front of truck 30 Franken truck, and it's depicting the 2 mirrors on the right and left side of the fenders.
Okay. What about the next one, please, Mr. Wall? Can you identify, this is 211B, sir,
Yes, that's the inside of the Franken truck looking out the windshield.
as if you were seated in the driver's seat?
Correct.
Next photo, please. This is 211C. What does this depict?
This is depicting on the range that I would see seated in the front seat, looking out the windshield, and depicting how much I'll be able to see.
Okay, and this would be more toward the left side in front of you as you're seated in the driver's seat?
Correct.
All right, next photo, please.
This is
This
awesome.
211D. Could you explain this to the jury?
Again, I'm sitting in the front seat of the
Because
Franken truck.
the
and I'm
last
taking a
trial,
picture
dude,
out-
the last trial, Lally was trying to make this dude out to be like he was fucking blind, bro. And it was really annoying. Like, well, you know, how could you, what if anything could you see if you were looking, how could you have seen this? And then he starts talking about the fucking basketball hoop, and you're just like, come on, dude. Like, the dude can fucking see. He's been doing this shit forever. What do you mean? Like 20 years he's been doing this shit.
out the right side of the windshield, again, depicting on how much I can see out it.
Thank you. Okay, we can take those down and put the lights on.
Franken truck,
Okay, so you
dog.
previously testified that you got to the garage about 2:15 a.m. on January 29th.
Like, bro, the whole town knows Franken truck, dude. It's a goddamn fucking Canton icon, dog. It's a fucking, it's a damn monument. Franken truck. This thing is it's a mascot, man.
Could you explain to the jury what do you do when you get there at 2:15 a.m.?
So at 2:15, we do a simple circle check to make sure that there are no defects with the truck. We go ahead and we make sure it has plenty of diesel. And then I put, any supplies that I may have for the night, planning on an overnight shift. And then I get in the truck and I proceed to my route.
And what type of supplies are you talking about, sir?
Any types of drinks, food, anything, snacks.
Preparing for a long night?
Yes.
The circle check, does that mean what it sounds like, where you sort of take a circle around the vehicle?
Yes, we're trying to make sure that the truck is safe, that there is no defects that would hinder the job ahead of it of being engaged.
Bro, there's nothing about this guy that tells me that he's not walking around this fucking thing with a clipboard, fucking flashlight, checking every single little thing before he takes it out on the road. Like, everything about this guy tells me that he's meticulous, that he is a creature of habit, that if he sways from his normal routine, it might upset him. That's the kind of impression I get from this man.
Engage the plow.
And when you did the circle check in those early morning hours, was there anything unusual that you found?
None.
Were you comfortable driving the snowplow that night?
Yes.
And you mentioned that you make sure it's filled with diesel fuel so you're good for the night.
Correct.
Now, what lighting is there on the truck facing outward?
I have 4 lights. I have the initial headlights, and then I have 2 plow lights that are on either side of the fenders. And then I have marking lights, and then I have work lights in the back for the sander.
Okay. If you recall the one photo that showed the truck from the outside, were the 2 plow lights visible in that photo?
Yes, they were.
Were the headlights visible in that photo?
Yes, they were.
Can we display that one more time, Your Honor, to have them point that out? Is there a pointer there, sir?
No, there is not.
Okay. Could you describe on 211A where those plow lights are?
Plow lights are just above the grill on the right side and left side.
Okay. And would it be fair to say the plow lights appear to be a clear lens and then an orange lens on either side?
Yes.
And the headlights, sir, where are those located?
They are to the right and left of the grill, and they're underneath.
Okay. And those are located just to the right of the grill in terms of as we're looking at 211A?
Yes.
Okay. We can take that down and put the lights back on. Now, do you recall whether or not, strike that. You also mentioned marking lights. Where are those?
Marking lights are on the top of my truck, along with a beacon light on top of the truck.
And what is a beacon light?
Beacon light is exactly what it looks like. It's a light that just illuminates and it goes around in circles.
And the marking lights, what do they do?
Bro, this dude knows his truck, every screw, every washer, everything. This guy knows his truck up and down, inside out, front to back.
They're similar to driving without your headlights. They're just there to mark the truck so that it's more visible for residents who may be driving and not paying attention.
And where does the lighting face those marking lights?
Front.
Okay, so in terms of the light that strictly goes toward the front, you have marking lights, plow lights, and headlights, correct?
Correct.
Do you recall whether, when you did your circle check, you checked out whether those lights were all working?
Correct.
And were they working?
Yes.
When all of those lights are on, how bright is it in front of your truck?
Extremely bright, almost as if I had a spotlight.
And that's facing straight out?
Correct.
What about facing diagonally out?
Again, as far as the lights will illuminate.
And then on either side, directly out to the side, how far can you see?
About 5-6 feet.
Okay. So you see more when you're looking straight out and then diagonally out, correct?
Correct.
You can see farther?
Correct.
Now, how about in terms of you being situated in the vehicle? How high up is the driver's seat?
Driver's seat is an air ride seat, so it can adjust accordingly.
What is an air ride seat?
It is adjusted by air, and it can go up or down depending on the driver's.
And how long did it take you to do the circle check, to put your snacks in the car and water, and to make sure the car or the truck is filled with diesel fuel?
About 5 minutes.
All right. So if you get there at 2:15, is it fair to say that you're ready to go on the road somewhere around 2:20 or 2:25 a.m.?
Correct.
And when you did start to go out on the road at around that time, how was the seat adjusted?
I adjusted the seat up so that my knees would hit the bottom of the steering wheel.
How big is that steering wheel on the truck?
It's fairly large. It's larger than a regular passenger vehicle. It's very large.
As of January 29th of 2022, were there any obstructions on any part of the windshield that would prevent you from having a clear view in any direction through the windshield?
No.
Once you got into that truck in those early morning hours, how far could you see in front of your truck?
As far as my eyes would let me see.
And how far could you see diagonally?
Diagonally, probably, again, as far as my eyes would let me see.
All right. Now, you get on the road. When you plow, is there a particular method that you use?
Yes.
Describe that.
I start in the middle of the road and work to the right, angling the plow to the right.
Are you familiar with the term ring row right?
Yes.
Could you explain that to the jury, please?
Sure. Ring row to the right is the amount of snow that's coming off the plow, creating a row. We angle everything to the right so that it does not impede on traffic on the left.
Right. So if
Wow.
you're going in the other direction, you'd be putting snow right in the opposite lane of travel, right?
Correct.
So you always go to the right.
Correct.
This man is like, there's a fucking word for me doing what the fuck I do, bro, which is ring row right. And I make sure, so when you're driving down the street, the road is clear and there's a big ass pile of snow on the right next to the curb. That's ring row right. Now I know. I'll forget it in 5 minutes.
Correct.
What part of the road, once you hit the roads, do you plow first? What part of the road?
I start at the yellow line and I work to the curb line.
Why do you plow the middle of the road first?
Again, I want to ring road to the right, and I want to be able to give a bigger swath of space for first responders.
And generally, after going up a
Dude,
street,
there's
or
a
road that you
craft to
plow,
this shit,
when do
bro.
you come back down the same street?
Immediately after I'm done.
Now, you mentioned
I love this shit. There's a craft to snow plowing, dude.
Route 11, your route that night.
This dude's an
You
artist.
mentioned that it takes you to Cedar Crest.
Correct.
Once you leave the DPW garage to go on your route, Route 11, how long does it take you to get to any part of Cedar Crest?
About 10 minutes.
May we display actually, it's Exhibit 49. Do we have access to Exhibit 49?
What is it? Is it?
It's just a map.
Okay.
And if we can't put our hands on it quickly, I can just display it on the screen.
This dude's an
Is it in
artist,
evidence?
bro.
You can put
Okay,
it on
thank you, Ron. If you put up Exhibit 49 and maybe zoom in so we just see, well, I think it is as zoomed in as it's going to go. Is that true, Mr. Wilk, to get
Wind row right or ring row right?
maybe zoom in on the top part of the map, if you would.
Wind row.
All right. So are you able to see that map from where you are?
Yes, I can.
And by the way, do you wear corrective lenses?
Yes, I do.
What do you wear?
I wear glasses, and when it's inclement weather, I wear contacts.
So on the night in question, when you went out on your route that night, were you wearing glasses or contacts?
So my man's like, I can't see. During inclement weather, I can't see with glasses because they fog the fuck up. So I put in contacts when there's inclement weather so as I can see. Unreal, bro.
Contacts.
What are you wearing today?
Contacts.
You've testified in a prior proceeding regarding this matter last year, correct?
Yes.
What did you show up with that day?
Glasses.
And what's your difference? What is the difference in your ability to see the screen with your glasses or your contacts?
My contacts makes things a little bit more brighter, allowing my eyes to see better
You have
with
more
the
difficulty
contacts.
seeing distances with your glasses?
Correct.
All right. Any problem seeing that screen here today?
None.
All right. What does that depict?
That depicts my route. Cedar Crest, Dew Lane, Spring Lane, and I'm not able to read the one underneath Spring Lane. Just
Certainly it's a portion of your route, correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, you see where it says Cedar Crest, right?
Yes.
And you see the red dot there?
Yes.
Does that red dot refresh your memory or orient you, I should say, as to what road that red dot is on?
Yes.
And what road is that?
That would be Fairview.
All right. Now, when you hit Cedar Crest Road, are you in that area of Cedar Crest or are you in a different area of Cedar Crest when you first come up on Cedar Crest Road?
When I first come on, I'm coming in at the beginning of Cedar Crest, which is at Dedham Street in Cedar Crest.
Okay. And how long a road is Cedar Crest before you get to the area of Exhibit 49?
I would say that's about a mile and a half.
And how long does it take you to plow Cedar Crest before you get to this area on January 29th of 2022?
About 10 minutes.
All right. How much of that mile and a half or so stretch of road did you plow when you first encountered it?
I plowed the entire street.
If we could zoom out, please. All right. And when you're driving on Cedar Crest Road, are you driving toward that red, Fairview Road that you've identified?
Yep.
Coming in from the right portion of the map or the left portion of the map?
I'm coming from the right side of the map.
All right. And so you start about a mile and a half down the road to the right, which is off this map, correct?
Correct.
And you say it takes you about 10 minutes to get to the area of Fairview.
Yes.
So would Fairview be on your right or your left when you first encounter it?
On my left.
And when you hit Fairview Road that first time, what do you do?
I go all the way to the very end of Cedar Crest, turn
Okay.
around in the cul-de-sac, and then head back up towards Fairview.
Okay, so you're passing Fairview on your left,
Yes.
plowing further, and then turning around and plowing back.
Yes.
And when you came back to the intersection of Cedar Crest and Fairview, what did you do?
I take a right.
And how familiar were you with 34 Fairview Road on that day?
very, very familiar.
Having delivered pizzas there for years.
And then having grown up in that neighborhood.
Were you friendly with the Alberts growing up?
Mostly with Chris, but I was cordial with the boys.
All right. And when you entered Fairview Road from Cedar Crest for the first time on your route, would 34 Fairview be on your right or your left?
On my right.
And can you give the jury your best estimate of when or what time was it when you first encountered 34 Fairview Road on January 29th of 2022?
About 2:40, 2:45.
That would be a.m.?
A.m.
And when you were passing 34 Fairview Road or encountering it at that point, what did you know about who lived there?
I knew the Alberts lived there, and I knew that Brian Albert was a police officer, first responders.
Now, aside from the lighting on your truck, were you aware of whether there were any streetlights in the area of 34 Fairview?
Yes.
Could you describe those?
Sure. There's one before you get to 34 Fairview driveway, and there's one after Fairview's driveway.
Do you have a memory as to whether or not those streetlights were working on January 29th of 2022?
I do not have a memory of that.
But in any case, how much of the lighting of your Franken truck was illuminated at that time?
All my lights were working.
Franken truck.
So you're now driving up Fairview Road.
See, the
and
jury,
34
you know, the
Fairview's on
jury
your right.
loves that.
Uh,
It's slick as fuck to refer to it as Franken truck because the jury's gonna love that, especially a young jury. They're gonna love that the dude calls his truck Franken truck, man. They like this guy.
Taking into account the lighting conditions that existed, especially on your truck, how much of the front lawn of 34 Fairview could you see?
I could see all the way to the front door.
What obstructions were there at the time when you first passed the Alberts residence?
None.
Were you familiar with the area of the flagpole on the left side of the property?
Yes.
Now, when you are plowing, sir, where is your attention focused?
My attention's focused out the front window, to the right and to the left.
Why?
I am looking for pedestrians. I'm looking for residents that may be backing out, not aware that I'm there, and God forbid, animals.
How much of the time that you're plowing are you scanning the road?
All the time.
Now, as you're passing 34 Fairview, could you see the area of the flagpole at 2:45 in the morning, sir?
Yes.
What was on the ground on the Alberts lawn at that point in the area of the flagpole?
Nothing.
Did you see a 6'1", 216-pound man lying on that lawn?
No.
Now, after plowing Fairview with the Alberts residence to your right, what do you do?
I go to the very end, take a left on the Chapman Street, back down Chapman Street, and then take a left back onto Fairview.
And are you plowing the whole time?
Yes.
So you get to, in this diagram, Exhibit 49, we don't have to turn the lights off. I think we can see it. You're traveling in a down direction, correct?
Correct.
And
All right, I gotta take a detour here real quick. Give me 1 second. We're gonna have to hit the brakes, pull over to the side for a second.
The fuck you want?
So you're telling me that the Mary B that's in chat is not the Mary B that you're talking to right now? You're live right now,
I
by
don't
the
know.
way.
She put in, you're a fucking asshole. For fucking real?
Yeah.
I hate you so fucking much. Oh my God.
So
She put in Discord that it wasn't working. She's still invisible.
but I see somebody in chat right now and they're going, no, it's me.
Oh my fucking God. Right.
She's
So what
saying
she
she
needs to do
made
is
another
message me
account.
and let me know that it's her.
But I unhid her. I did unhide her. I unhid her. Like, you know how tedious that shit is? And I hit save too. I made sure to hit save.
Oh, poor you.
Dude,
I can't with you right now.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So, problem solved then?
I don't fucking know.
So, problem solved. All right.
No, because you're still around and you're the problem.
Wow. Hey, tell me if this sounds like somebody hanging up. All right. That's the Mary B issue. Okay. It's addressed. That's it. Moving on.
You would hit Chapman Street. Is that fair to say that's at the bottom?
Correct.
You do some type of three-point turn and go back down Fairview?
Yes.
How long does it take you to get from 34 Fairview the first time to get to Chapman Street?
Maybe 5-10 minutes.
And then how long does it take you to get from Chapman Street back down so that you're now passing 34 Fairview again?
Again, about 5-10 minutes.
And when you're coming back down, what side of the road is 34 Fairview?
On my left.
When you pass 34 Fairview at that time, are there any obstructions preventing you from seeing the front lawn?
None.
Was there any difference in the lighting on your truck when you were coming back down?
No.
Where was your attention focused when you're passing 34 Fairview on your left?
Again, out the front, right and left.
And how much of that front lawn are you able to see on 34 Fairview when you're coming back down from Chapman?
I can see everything. I can see right up to the front door.
What did you see on the front lawn of 34 Fairview on January 29th of 2022 when you're making the second pass by 34 Fairview in the area of the flagpole?
I saw nothing.
All right. Now, you've made an up and down pass, sir, correct?
Yes.
Once you pass 34 Fairview for that first up and down pass, where do you go?
I then go do Spring Lane, and I do that top and bottom.
And is there a point in time when you come back to the area of Fairview Road?
Yes.
That second time now that you're coming back, I'm counting the up and down pass as the first time.
Okay.
You with me?
Yep.
That second time now that you're coming back, about how long is it after the first time?
About 45 minutes.
So now it's about what time that you're coming for the second time to this area?
3:30.
And when you come back to the area of Fairview Road, the second time, are you on the Cedar Crest side, which is on the top of Exhibit 49, or the Chapman side, which is on the bottom of Exhibit 49?
I'm on the Cedar Crest side.
And when you approach it from the Cedar Crest side, are you approaching from the same direction that you did for the first time up and down pass, or a different direction?
Same direction.
All right, so you're now coming down Cedar Crest again, correct?
Correct.
Fairview's on your left.
Yes.
Did you take that left, or did you do something else?
I did not take the left. At that point, I could have taken the left. I can make a decision depending on how much snow there was on the ground. I ended up going all the way to the end as if the first time.
All right, and you did your same turnaround in the cul-de-sac?
Correct.
And now you're approaching the intersection of Cedar Crest and Fairview again, correct?
Yes.
What do you do?
I take the right onto Fairview.
How was the weather at 3:30 in the morning when you're now in that area of Fairview and Cedar Crest?
It's snowing fairly hard now.
Do you recall how much snow was on the ground at that point?
Maybe 2-3 inches.
And at about 3:30 in the morning, how far could you see in front of you, again, straight and diagonally in front of you,
As far as my eyes would let me see.
as a result of the lighting on your truck?
Correct.
Now, you take the right onto Fairview. Describe to the jury what you see in the road at that point.
As I make my right onto Fairview, I notice that there's a vehicle on the right-hand side roughly in the area of the flagpole in front of 34 Fairview.
Okay. And did you make note of what type of vehicle that was?
Yes.
What type of vehicle was that?
A Ford Edge.
Woo! There it is.
What direction was that vehicle parked when you saw it?
It was parked nose going up Fairview.
Toward Chapman?
Yes.
So you're coming up from behind it?
Correct.
Do you see the rear of that vehicle?
Yes.
And was it parked adjacent to the Albert property, or was it across the street from the Albert property?
Adjacent to the Albert family.
And how close to the area of the flagpole was that Ford Edge parked at 3:30 in the morning?
I can't give you an exact measurement, but looking at the front door, it was about 3 feet to the left of the front door in the area of the flagpole. So in between the front door and the flagpole.
Got it.
Now, what caused you to remember that there was a Ford Edge parked at 3:30?
I mean, right where they found John.
For as long as I can remember, they have never parked a vehicle in front of their house. They've always had enough ample parking in the driveway.
What policies or protocols of the DPW are enforced when vehicles are parked on the street or the road during a snow emergency?
There is no parking allowed. We are supposed to notify our supervisor when there is a vehicle in the way. At that point, the supervisor will make attempt to call the resident or have the police show up at the resident. And then if they can't get the car removed, the car gets towed.
Sir, did you follow protocol that night?
I did not.
Why not?
Knowing the Albert family, knowing that there was a first responder, I gave them respect and opted not to follow procedures.
How did the presence of that Ford Edge parked on the side of the road affect your direction of travel?
Remote handle
The street or the
way.
What
Never parked a vehicle.
outside the Albert's residence that night?
For as long as I can remember, they have never parked a vehicle in front of their house. They've always had enough ample parking in the driveway.
What policies or protocols of the DPW are enforced when vehicles are parked on the street or the road during a snow emergency?
There is no parking allowed. We are supposed to notify our supervisor when there is a vehicle in the way. At that point, the supervisor will make attempt to call the resident or have the police show up at the resident. And then if they can't get the car removed, the car gets towed.
Sir, did you follow protocol that night?
I did not.
Why not?
Knowing the Albert family, knowing that there was a first responder, I gave them respect and opted not to follow procedures.
How did the presence of that Ford
Okay. Now I heard Spanky call him out on this in Cross earlier because it was a good catch on Spanky's part. Like, the thing is, you got to understand that this guy is just sitting up there saying what he saw. You know what I mean? Like, that's all he's doing. He's just up there saying what he saw. That's what a witness does. That's what an honest witness does. And then when somebody wants, if that blows a hole in the other party's case, well, then that other party is going to try to discredit this person, right? He's going to try to discredit their testimony, try to discredit them. So what he's going to do is he's going to point out it's a little weird that he responded to that. He called him a first responder. He referred to him as a first responder and not a cop, right? I mean, he's just a civilian. So a first responder. Now, on the other hand, could be that he's just meticulous like that. He's detailed like that. Any first responder, anybody who is a first responder for a living, no matter if they're an EMT, no matter if they're a police officer, if they're a firefighter, if they're a first responder, well, then they need their rest, right? They're always on call. You know, they need their rest. So him generalizing it that way may not be very suspicious, but it's a very easy thing for Spanky to take and make a guy like Spanky to make it seem suspicious in front of a jury. And he does this later on. He does this during Cross.
Ford Edge parked on the side of the road affect your direction of travel?
I had to go around the vehicle.
How did you maneuver around it?
I had to maneuver to the left, go up, and then maneuver back right into my lane, and then continue up Fairview.
And at any point when you were...
Because the thing is he's referred to as a first responder by Alan Jackson quite a bit. You know what I'm saying? During Ken McCabe's cross-examination, Alan Jackson referred to Brian Albert as a first responder quite a bit. So it's easy for Spanky to make the jury think, hey, like, this guy's been watching the trial, or he was coached, or whatever.
Maneuvering to the left and then angling back to the right, could you see part of the front lawn of the Alberts?
Yes.
Were you able to see any part of the area around the flagpole?
Yes, as I maneuvered back right.
And when you maneuvered back right and saw that area,
right,
did you see on the ground in the area of the
But
flagpole?
see, this is what Spanky does. This is a great example. His cross-examination, this is good to watch because it's a good scope into how Spanky works. How Hank Brennan works is he will take this man who sounds very, very meticulous in the way that he delivers information because he's just a thorough guy, right? But the jury doesn't really know that. It's easy to take that as he's been coached, he's memorized lines, and he's rehearsed them, and now he's delivering them. So it's very, very it's easy to take how he appears and twist it if you're a guy like Hank Brennan. And it's exactly all Hank Brennan has, so that's what he's going to do.
I saw nothing.
All right. So now you've passed 34 Fairview again. Where do you go?
I go back to the top of Chapman, and again, I do a left and a right and head back down Fairview.
Another 3-point turn.
Correct.
So now you're doing your second up and down, correct?
Correct.
All right. So you then enter Fairview again, coming back down from Chapman. And how long does it take you to get back down to the area of 34 Fairview?
Again, about 5-10 minutes.
Now, you are now approaching 34 Fairview, and it's on your right or your left this time.
Again, it's on my left.
What, if anything, did you see in the road at that point?
Again, I saw the...
So let's talk about that for a second. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that this Ford Edge was parked right in front of where John O'Keefe was found, right? Let's just say, for instance, let's say hypothetically that that's exactly what the case was. And Lucky failed to plow that because the vehicle was right there. He could not do his wind whatever right thing that he does. Wind row right. He couldn't do it because the Ford Edge was there. So he didn't, he knew the Alberts, so he didn't contact them. Now let's think about that for a second. So if he didn't plow that area, how could pieces of taillight and glass and a fucking shoe be found right on top of plowed snow? Wouldn't they have to dig it up? Wouldn't it be on the bottom? Now, that's just hypothetical. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Something to think about, though.
Saw the Ford Edge in the road.
Now it's on your left side?
Yes.
Did it appear to be in the identical position as when you came up the street toward Chapman?
Yes.
How much of the area of the flagpole were you able to see this time as you're coming back down from Chapman?
It was obstructed, so I wasn't able to see as much as the first time, but I was still able to see the flagpole.
What did you see on the ground in the area of the flagpole?
Yeah, there wouldn't be a snowbank.
3:35, 3:40 in the morning.
I saw nothing.
All right, so now you've done your second up and down pass, correct?
Correct.
Where do you go?
I go back out on the Cedar Crest and I continue to do the rest of my route.
Okay,
Now-
so never mind then, because later on he comes back up that road and he plows the road. So there is a snowbank there. But it still doesn't answer as to why the fuck Gallagher didn't see it. Makes no sense. Why didn't Gallagher see any of this stuff? And it still would be underneath a pile of snow. It would be underneath the snowbank, wouldn't it? It would still be if he went back and he plowed the road, it would still be underneath the snowbank, not on top. And Gallagher should have seen it and didn't in broad daylight right after it happened, or the soonest time to the alleged event. It makes no sense.
Now, at this point in time, did you do more of your route or spend more time away than you did between the first and second time?
I did more of my route staying away from Fairview.
And about how long did it take you before you came back to the area of Fairview Road?
About 3 hours.
So what is your best estimate of this third time that you're now approaching Fairview Road?
About 6:15
And that'd be AM
a.m.
on January 29th?
Yes.
Now, this time when you approach Fairview Road, did you come from the Cedar Crest side or the Chapman side?
I came from Chapman Street side.
And when you turned, did you turn left or right from Chapman Street to get down to Fairview?
I turned right.
And once you turned right, did something unusual happen?
Yes, I noticed there were blue lights behind me, forcing me to pull over to the side of the road.
Did you recognize the vehicles that had, or vehicle? I didn't ask you if there was more than one, but did you recognize what type of vehicle or vehicles there were?
Yes, they were police vehicles.
Which vehicle was traveling more quickly, the police vehicle or Franken truck?
The police vehicles.
What were you doing with your snowplow after the police passed you?
I continued down Fairview.
Coming down Fairview, did you actually lose sight of the police cruiser that had passed
I did.
you? How many side streets are there when you're coming down Fairview from Chapman Street?
3.
What are they?
Wyndham, Old Ridge Hill, and then Carriage Lane.
Now, you're now coming down Fairview Road. What did you notice ultimately in front of you in the road?
I noticed the police cars had the road blocked off and preventing me from going to Cedar Crest.
And with regard to the lighting on those police... With regard to the lighting on those police vehicles as the road was blocked off, could you describe that for the jury?
Sure, they had all their blue lights on and they were parked, blocking the road, the entire road. I couldn't get through.
How well lit was it in the area where the police were?
Very well lit.
Yeah, he's got like a new, he's got like it's the same channel, just a new name or whatever. I clicked on it for a second. I was just like, this guy and his bullshit. And I just fucking didn't even bother.
So you're now confronted with a blocked road. What do?
I turn around at Carriage Lane and I continue to do that road. And then I exit Carriage Lane and go to the left.
And going to the left would send you back toward Chapman Street, correct?
Correct.
And once you leave the area of Fairview Road, how long does it take you to come back down to Fairview Road to finish the plowing that you didn't do the first time?
As soon as the police were able to leave the area, I was able to finish that area.
Do you recall what time you finished your shift on January 29th?
I honestly don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
No worries. Do you remember if it was daylight out at that time?
It was daylight.
Okay. Now, sir, in the aftermath of that storm, when was the first time you were approached by anybody connected with this investigation on either side, if you recall?
About 2 weeks.
Who was it that approached you at that time?
First name was
2 weeks.
Paul, and he described himself as a private investigator for the defense team.
Prior to hearing
Wow.
from the defense private investigator, had you ever heard from anybody from any police department whatsoever?
No,
Do you know who Michael Proctor is?
I do.
I'll allow that.
And did Michael Proctor ever call you or contact you at all in those 2 weeks?
No,
Where did the
Wow,
defense investigator approach
dude.
you, if you recall?
he approached me at my place of work, which was
All
at
right,
the Canton
folks.
ice rink,
So-
Metro Paul's ice rink.
And what were you doing at the ice
Basically,
rink?
in a nutshell, right here, 2 weeks goes by. A Boston police officer is found dead on the lawn of another Boston police officer. Karen Reed is arrested like the next day, right? Cars towed 29th to the Canton PD. Already everything's all set to arrest Karen Reed for this shit and charge her, frame her, right? 2 weeks go by. This guy's an eyewitness. There's a guy who has a route. Any detective with minimum detective skills is going to go, okay, well, what about a garbage route that might be going by there, or a snowplow route, since it was a snowstorm, that might have seen something? That's what any investigator would do. That's Law and Order fucking SVU type shit. You know what I mean? It's basic. So they wait 2 weeks to talk to this guy. 2 weeks. And it's not even it's not even the cops who waited 2 weeks to talk to him. 2 weeks go by. Turns out it's a private investigator for the defense, because Turtle Boy fucking uncovered the fact that Lucky Loughran saw Ford Edge and wrote about it. Now, I don't know what came first, whether it was the defense private investigator figuring this out or Turtle Boy figured it out and then let the defense know about it. I don't know how that happened. But all I know is Turtle Boy knew about this shit before Michael Proctor did. So why didn't Michael Proctor put forth even half the effort that Turtle Boy put in to try to find the truth? The lead investigator of the Massachusetts State Police did not do the work, the investigative work, that a blogger did. Interesting. I find that real interesting.
I was operating the Zamboni.
Now, without telling us what you told him, did you
Zamboni.
speak to the defense investigator?
Yes, I did.
And at some point, did you do something with the defense investigator?
Yes, I met him for a second time at the Kennedy School, and then we both drove my route.
Skipping ahead to the next year, sir, 2023, were you approached by law enforcement officers who were not Canton Police or Massachusetts State Police?
Yes,
Without telling us what you told them, did you speak to them?
yes,
Before speaking to them in 2023, had you ever heard from former Trooper Michael Proctor or anybody from this investigation from the State Police or Canton Police?
no,
At some point, did you hear from the State Police?
yes.
That was after you'd already talked to the defense and to these other law enforcement officers who were not state police or Canton police?
Yes.
And sir, how clear is your memory about what you saw or didn't see in the early morning hours of January 29th of 2022 in the area of 34 Fairview? The first up and down pass, the second up and down pass, and then the third time you came.
Very strong.
I have no further questions, sir.
Very strong.
Thank you very much.
Love it.
It's the exhibit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, Mr. Brennan, whenever you're ready.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Have you and I met before?
No, sir.
This is our first time speaking?
Yes, sir.
Sir, you say that your memory from that night is very strong. Would it be fair to say that before today, you've talked about this case many times?
Yes.
You've interviewed with different law enforcement people as well as civilians and attorneys, haven't you?
Correct.
I have not been one of them.
No, you have not.
Is it fair to say that when you've recounted that night as far as times and what you saw, many times your memory has changed? Is that fair to say?
It has not.
You spoke to a private investigator on behalf of the defense shortly after
I
that night?
love this shit because this guy's whole thing is trying to discredit everyone's memory. And what he does is makes excuses for everybody who answered him on direct, his own witnesses, when they go, "Oh, I don't recall. I don't recall." I mean, this guy is a piece of work. I mean, the jury has to see this shit.
Yes.
Was that the first time that you spoke to somebody about what you had seen or not seen?
Yes.
That is the first time?
Yes.
Inevitably, over time, you have given statements to at least 4 different people, correct?
Correct.
And you've testified in court under oath?
Correct.
During the pendency from that night until today, it's fair to say there are many times where you have been intimidated, isn't it?
No.
You've been threatened?
Nope.
You were aware, sir, that you were being threatened by an online blogger to expose you?
Oh my God.
I was not.
You're saying as you sit here
Enter Turtle Boy.
today, you have no awareness in the history of this case that you were being threatened by an online blogger.
I was not threatened by an online blogger.
Was the online blogger threatening or saying that he
What?
would expose you and tell personal things about you if you weren't helpful?
He was not threatening.
Let's remove the word.
What? Dude, are you fucking shitting me right now, dude? Like, you're accusing Turtle. Dude, Turtle Boy has done nothing but be supportive of Lucky Brian Loughran. Or Loughran, excuse me. He has done nothing but be fully supportive. He has made this guy into a local hero. If anything. Dude, hold on a second. Take a look at this. Take a look at this. You hear what they're chanting? You hear what they're chanting? They're chanting Lucky, Lucky, Lucky. Does that look like a guy who's been threatening Brian Lucky Loughran? Get real. You're not, nobody's buying that shit, dude. Stop it. And he's being clear. He's like, nobody fucking threatened me. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, dude. Like, nobody threatened me. You're out of your mind.
Threatening was the person communicating and making clear to you that if you didn't testify in a certain way, there would be some consequence to you.
And he knows he's going to deny it, but what he's doing, he's just trying to plant that shit into the jury's head. I don't know why the fuck the defense hasn't been objecting like crazy to that. Because he's just doing it to plant that shit in the jury's head.
Time from when you first spoke to the private investigator until today, were there communications made to you by an online blogger that there would be consequence for you if you didn't testify in a way that was acceptable to them?
No,
You listened, of course, didn't you, to podcasts that were about you?
I did not.
People told you about them.
Yes, they did.
And when friends told you about them, you knew who that person was that was making those claims, correct?
Correct.
You were well aware the person had a very strong and large social media presence.
I didn't know how large or what his presence were, but yes, I knew he had a blog.
Well, you know now because you follow that blogger now, don't you?
I do follow him, yes.
I mean, I realize that they probably object, but the fact that they're not objecting now, I'm puzzled by. I mean, I trust them. I'm not criticizing them. I'm just wondering why.
You pay for a subscription?
I do not.
Did you get one for free?
I did not.
And in following that blogger, you know full well the power that person has to get attention from the community to harass, correct?
Yes.
And so during the pendency of this case, not only were you aware that you were being pressured to testify a certain way, you also knew there'd be consequences. Isn't that true?
I'm going to allow that.
The premise of that question is not accurate.
So he can answer it.
You knew there was pressure for you to testify a certain way in this case, didn't you?
I did not know I was being required to testify a certain way. I was also at the time dealing with the loss of my wife. I was not paying any attention
Man,
to any
that's
social
terrible.
Sorry for your loss, but you are aware during the pendency of this case that there has been pressure on you to testify in a certain way. Isn't that fair to say?
media. No,
Sir, you received a call from that blogger, didn't you?
I did.
And during that call, did you know the person?
Yeah. See, dude, like Spanky's such a dick. Like he didn't say that shit for sympathy. He was making a point. Lucky was making a point. He was saying, I was dealing with the loss of my wife. I wasn't concerned with what Turtle Boy was saying about me online. I wasn't thinking about that. I know Turtle Boy likes me. I mean, he's not going to say that, but Turtle Boy's not going to say nothing bad. Like, he's not going to hear that. If he's mourning his wife, he's thinking about his wife. He's not sitting there looking online for what people are saying about him. He's trying to adjust. He just lost his soulmate. He lost his life partner. Dude, that shit is crazy. Sorry for your loss, but where you at? No, bro. No. Dumbass. Will, the D has to balance need for objections with how many times they will be overruled in front of the jury. Oh, okay. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Person was recording you?
I did not.
You later learned that the person recorded you.
I did not.
Do you know that your conversations were spread throughout the community online?
I was.
Sir, some of those communications or inquiries were claims that you would be exposed for personal matters if you didn't testify a certain way, weren't they?
No.
Inevitably, you've met this person, haven't you?
I've seen him. I haven't met him.
Have you ever spent time with him?
No, I have not.
Still a follower of that blog.
I am.
When you follow the blog, do you read anything or do you watch it?
No, I don't do much anything towards the blogger.
As you follow it, you can see there are oftentimes articles about you.
No,
Haven't you ever been encouraged to do the right thing?
no,
Haven't you ever been celebrated after you've testified in a way favorable for one
Yes.
or the other?
yes.
And so when you were being celebrated, that certainly took off any pressure that could be consequence, didn't it?
Ask it differently.
When you
So
were celebrated,
this guy's trying to say that like the supporters who took pictures with him after the first trial and were like, man, great job, that somehow is influencing his testimony here. But he's testifying the exact same way as he did the last trial. So there was no celebration prior to that. Celebration took place after the fact. He took pictures with people and they were nice to him because there are those supporters that hang out outside the courthouse. And Lucky Loughran is a hero. Simply for speaking the truth.
if you're testifying a certain way, did you find that to be encouraging?
I'm going to allow it.
I did find it to be encouraging,
Did
but
you?
I did not want it. I don't think I deserved it. All I was doing was my job and telling the truth.
That's
Did you
it.
enjoy the attention that you got?
I did not.
Did you pose in photographs with people who support one side or the other?
I did.
And when you were in those photographs, are you saying you
Dude,
didn't enjoy the attention that you were receiving?
just because you pose for photographs doesn't mean that you're enjoying all of the attention. Like, it's nice, But I'll tell you, and anybody who's in the chat that met me the first time I went out to Boston and people wanted pictures with me, it was fucking overwhelming. I didn't know how to process it. I didn't know how to process it at all. So I was just, you know, but this is a guy who's saying it's confusing. I mean, and that's the other thing is like, even though you don't want to like, you don't really know how to process it, you do it. And you do it because you're happy to do it, because it's nice that people actually want to take their picture with you. It's very nice. It's something to be very grateful for. So you do it, of course. But it's still an uneasy feeling when you're not used to it. It's still an uneasy feeling when you haven't processed why people want their picture with you. Because the way that I see it is I'm just sitting up here talking. You know, I love doing this. The way that he sees it is he's just doing his job and telling the truth. He doesn't see any reason to be celebrated for it, but okay, if you want to take your picture with me, that's all right, fine. Right on. If that does something for you, I'm happy to do whatever it is for you that I can do, whatever I can do to make you feel nice. I'm happy to do it because you're making me feel very nice right now. That's all it is. But in no way, shape, or form is somebody, because they're asking me to take their picture, are they going to tell me what I'm going to talk about and do on my channel, are they? It's not going to sway him to do anything but the right thing. He's being celebrated for doing the right thing, not for what he's saying. He's being celebrated for being honest and doing the right thing. There is a huge difference. Spanky's trying to make it seem like he's being celebrated for saying something that he was coerced into saying, that he was pressured, that there's all this public pressure, and that if he were to say the wrong thing, that there'd be all this public backlash on him, or all of his praise and celebration would end and he'd be afraid of that. And that's just not the case. No, I'm nowhere near as cool as Lucky. Nowhere near. You're absolutely right. But I'm saying it's a thing where you're like, okay, when a bunch of people want to take pictures, you go, I don't know. All right. You don't really know how to process it. You just know that the right thing to do is to pose for the pictures. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you should be enjoying it, but you don't really know how yet. That's all it is. Because you're being celebrated for just something that you love doing. This is a guy who's just proud of doing his job to a T for the last 20 years, and then he's telling the truth about what he saw that night. And something very simple. I saw a Ford Edge parked there. That's it. I saw a Ford Edge parked there. And now he's being torn down. Credibility being fucked, acting like he's doing this for fame, which is ridiculous.
I did not. Again, I was trying to be polite and trying to avoid any confrontation that may come from something if I said no.
Well, did anybody from the district attorney's office ever suggest they would confront you or punish you if you didn't testify a certain way?
No.
How many friends contacted you about what was being said before you testified, the pressure? How many people told you about that?
I couldn't tell you. All my friends were telling me.
So you were hearing a lot of noise or information from your friend group and community about what was being said about you?
Yes.
And this was before you testified at the first trial, sir?
This was before.
Sir, you work hard, don't you?
I do.
You work many different jobs.
I do.
You try to be a good citizen.
I do.
You are not looking for attention.
I am not.
It was brought to you.
It was brought to me.
You wish you never had that attention, don't you?
Yes.
Because you just want to live your life the way you want to live it, rather than have people you don't know attacking, criticizing.
Bro, what a piece of shit.
Could you repeat that, please?
Would it be fair to say that you simply want to live your life the way you've been living it without outside people attacking or pressuring or threatening you?
Yes.
And let's be very clear about something. If anyone is attacking or pressuring or threatening him, it's coming from the people who are anti-Karen Reed. It's coming from the people who want to see her thrown in prison for something she didn't do. It's not coming from anybody who follows and likes Turtle Boy. Guaranteed. If there's any attacking going on, it's coming from the crusty panties and the plebans. It's coming from that end of things. It's not coming from this end of things. Guaranteed.
On June 5th, 2023, you were contacted by the defense private investigator, weren't you? And you may not know the date. Were you contacted twice by the private investigator?
I would need to know what time frame we're looking at.
Fair enough. By the way, the blogger that I speak of, do you know if he is friendly or supports one side over the other?
I know he is friendly towards one side, yes.
Okay. The side sitting in the back of the room?
I would say the defense team.
You've interacted with a private investigator hired by the defense?
Yes.
Have you also interacted with any of the attorneys?
Yes.
Which attorneys have you interacted with?
Mr. Yannetti.
Have you contacted or have you spoken to any other attorneys other than Mr. Yannetti?
Just Mr. Yannetti.
How many times have you spoken to Mr. Yannetti?
Again, what are we talking? First trial, this trial?
The entire time, from that night until today. Can you remember how many times that you spoke?
About 5 times.
How many times have you gone in to be interviewed by him?
4 times?
During those interviews, were they spaced out over the course of this case?
Yes.
What was the purpose of those interviews?
To go over my testimony.
When you went over testimony, were you ever shown prior testimony?
Yes.
Were you shown prior reports?
No.
Were you shown a prior investigator's report?
Yes.
Were you shown a prior report by a law enforcement agency that is not the state police, not Canton?
Not by Mr. Yannetti. I saw that first document for the first time during the first trial.
When you were discussing your testimony, was there a discussion about the fact that the times that you gave the private investigator were different than the report from that law enforcement agency?
Could you repeat that question, please?
When you were preparing for trial in those meetings, was it brought up? Did you discuss that there was a difference in your memory, or at least in the reports, between what you told the defense private investigator and what you told that other law enforcement agency?
No.
Were you aware that there was a difference between the different statements put in your memory at the time?
The first trial, yes.
When you were with the defense preparing for trial, did you go over your testimony?
Yes.
Go over questions and answers?
Yes.
Were you ever subjected to a make-pretend cross-examination about issues that were important in this case?
No.
Were you ever pointed to any particular issues that were important to talk about in this case?
No.
When you did the questions and answers, were they written down or just a conversation?
So, can you repeat that one, please? I'm sorry.
Now, he's trying to make the jury think that he was coached and fed answers, where all I guarantee you David Yannetti did was go over like how he delivers his answers, because it is absolutely his testimony and his memory that there was a Ford Edge in front of 34 Fairview early that morning. So he's, in order to deliver a sufficient testimony, it's not uncommon to go over it. Now, he didn't even go over a mock cross-examination, which we see in the movies all the fucking time.
When you went through the questions and answers and preparing, practicing for your testimony, were they written down?
So ask you to.
When you were preparing for your testimony, were the questions and answers written down, or was it just speaking?
Just speaking.
Those 4 times that you met, is that a guess, or was it 4 times?
It was
Oh,
about 4
right
times,
on,
yes.
Brian Hale.
More?
No.
And during those 4 times, was there anything different other than going through questions and answers about testimony and preparation? Was there any other subjects you talked about?
There were none.
Did you ever receive any compensation, sir?
I received none.
Do you know whether people were sending you compensation that you didn't receive?
No.
You don't know?
I never received anything.
Okay, he's trying to make it seem like they paid him to say something.
Were you given anything to bring home with you so that you could remember past testimony or some of the questions and answers that were going to be asked?
No.
How long were your meetings in preparation for your testimony?
About 45 minutes to an hour.
Were they all about the same time or were they different?
All right. So he's not even really going over. Like, he's just basically throwing him the ball underhanded. That's all Yannetti was doing. 45 minutes to an hour is not long enough to like coach someone to do this test, to deliver this testimony. It's not even remotely long enough. 45 minutes to an hour covers this is I'm just going to basically, I need you to just relax, and I'm going to go over what you do for a living, just to answer everything honestly and relax and try to be loud. Make sure that the jury, if you can, take a look at the jury if you can when you deliver your answers. That's the kind of shit that you do. That's what you squeeze into 45 to an hour. That's it. No fucking like, okay, what are you going to say when I tell you this? Oh, no, you got that wrong. We're going to sit here all day until you get it right, Lucky. That's what it takes. It's all day to do that shit. It doesn't take no 45 to an hour to do that shit. You know what I mean?
When you came into court last year, it's fair to say this is after you became aware of essentially being targeted, correct?
You can answer that if you can. Can you answer that, Mr. Loughran?
I can. I don't ever felt like I was being targeted.
This was after you received all the information from your friends and people in the community that you were being attacked.
I'll allow that.
Again,
Yes,
I don't
Liz.
feel like I was being targeted.
Are you concerned after this case what happens with the blogger that you follow?
No.
Yeah. Let me tell you something here real quick, bro. One thing, being a fan of the Turtle Boy live show and having gotten to know Aiden pretty well these last many months, I could tell you that nobody's targeted. This dude doesn't target anybody. There's a whole shit ton of people. There's plenty of shit to spread all around, bro. Plenty of turd to feed all around, bro. Plenty of people to feed turd to, bro. There's plenty. You got like all of the fucking McAlberts just for starters. You got Spanky, you got Bev, you got fucking Crusty Panties, Fake Victim. You got all kinds of motherfuckers that Turtle Boy talks about regularly. He spreads it out nice and even, dude. That's what makes it so fun. Because there's so many fucking assholes that are going after him that all he does is just give it right back. But he doesn't target anybody, and he sure as shit doesn't target Lucky Loughran. He does nothing of the sort. If anything, he praises him, and he doesn't even do it that often. I'm in Turtle Boy's chat almost every Tuesday and Saturday, dude. At least for a little while. And I'm telling you, like, I don't hear him spend any more than like maybe a couple of minutes every fucking once in a blue moon talking about homeboy here. And when he does, it's nice, it's pleasant, it's complimentary. That's all it is. There's no, oh, Lucky better do this or Lucky better do. There's none of that shit. I don't know where the fuck Brennan thinks he's getting this from.
You talk about your meeting with the private investigator. The first time you met him, do you remember that meeting?
Yes.
Do you remember where you met him?
I met him at my place of employment.
Did you go anywhere with him that day?
No, I did not.
You had a conversation with him and you spoke about what you had remembered from that night?
Yes.
Do you remember when you spoke to that private investigator, you weren't sure how many times you went up and down Fairview that night? That you had said 2 or 3?
No, I told him I went up at 2:30 at 2. I told him at 3:30 I went up 2. Went up and down. And I told him about 3 hours later, I went up and down. I went down and wasn't able to go around the police cruisers and had to turn around at Carriage Lane.
You mentioned that you believe you told the private investigator that you went up and down at 2:30. Do you remember when you spoke to the private investigator, you actually said 3 o'clock?
I don't remember 3 o'clock.
May I approach?
Yes.
And before I do you remember you said that when you went on your second pass, it was around 3:15?
I told him I went up Fairview between about 2:40 to 2:45, and I said about 45 minutes later I went for the second time.
Okay. Now you had said 2:30. You just now said 2:40 to 2:45, and then you said 45 minutes later.
Yep.
Okay. Do you remember telling the private investigator that when you think, or you said you saw a report ahead, you were actually still on Cedar Brook, not on Fairview passing by it, but you saw it from the street at Cedar Brook? Do you remember telling him that?
I don't remember. Secret. I don't remember ever saying that.
Okay. May I approach?
Yes.
I'll show you a copy. This is a report that you didn't write, so I don't want you to read it. I want to show it to you and see if it helps remind you of what you told the private investigator that day. You can look at any part of this, but what I'm asking you is whether or not you remember telling the private investigator that when you saw the car, you weren't passing on Fairview, you were up on Cedar Crest. That's the question I'm asking. So I'd ask you to look whatever part you want. I'm going to point out the part to you. When you're done, don't answer, just look up and I'll get to ask you some questions about your memory. Okay? So I've directed to this part, but you can look at any part that you want to.
Loughran.
And now I am, when you were plowing Cedar Crest Road, you looked toward Fairview Road and saw a small SUV parked in front of the house. Remember telling the PI that?
I never remember telling him that.
When you spoke to law enforcement, not the Canton police or the state police, you understood it was important to be as accurate as possible?
Yes.
And you understood, at least with that law enforcement agency, if you misled them in any way, it could be up to a 10-year penalty?
Yes.
When you spoke to them, did you take that interview very seriously?
Yes.
Try to be as precise and accurate as you could?
Yes.
And when you spoke to them, obviously, like anybody, you had in mind there could be serious consequences if they felt misled.
Yes.
You try to be honest with them,
Yes.
provide them your best memory and good faith.
Yes.
And this was shortly before, well, actually, this was May 24th, 2023, correct?
Correct.
When you met, there was more than one person there from this agency?
I believe so.
Was there potentially two?
There was two.
And when you met with them, they asked you about when you began working that night.
Yes.
You told them 11:30 to midnight.
I never told him that.
And so as you sit here today, your memory is you did not tell those law enforcement agents that you began work at 11:30 to 12?
We had a 2:30 start time.
I understand, but I'm asking you.
I never told him.
I love that shit. So now law enforcement is just fucking lying, because if you're asking me if I'm going to believe fucking Proctor and Buchanan over fucking Lucky Loughran, no fucking way. Those motherfuckers are lying. And this dude is telling the truth. He's like adamant. I never told him that shit. I didn't say nothing about no goddamn 11:30 shift. Fuck out of here. Say nothing about that shit.
It was always 2:30 start time.
When you spoke to them, do you remember telling them the first time you were out near the area was midnight?
Nope. No.
When you spoke to those law enforcement personnel, were they taking notes?
I believe so.
Have you ever seen their report?
The first trial I did, yes.
Who showed you that report?
It was shown to me by Prosecutor Lally.
You think Prosecutor Lally showed you that report?
It was shown to me.
And do you remember telling those two law enforcement personnel that?
Did you hear how he said that? You think Lally showed you that report? Like he's crazy. Like, you see what he's doing? He's wording things so that the jury hears it and makes him out to be simple. Look at this shit. Watch.
You think Prosecutor Lally showed you that report?
Prosecutor Lally.
You think Prosecutor Lally showed you that report?
Prosecutor Lally.
You think Prosecutor Lally showed you that report?
It was shown.
You think? No, bro. He's fucking sure, dude. Yeah, totally. Thank you, Liz88. Dude, he's sitting here and he's trying to make him out to be simple and not credible to the jury. Oh, you think Lally showed you that report? He's like, bro, as I'm sitting right here in this fucking very goddamn chair, bro. Last year, I was sitting right fucking here. The motherfucker showed me the report. What are you talking about? You know what I saw?
It was shown to me.
And do you remember telling those two law enforcement personnel that you believe that there were emergency vehicles, ambulances, or police cars in front of Fairview at 3 to 3:30 a.m.?
I do not.
Are you saying that you did not say these things to them, or are you saying that that's not your memory?
That's not what I said.
So
Ah!
you're saying that's wrong. You're denying
Correct.
you made those statements.
Correct.
At the time, they say that you told them there was emergency vehicles there at 3 a.m.
He's trying to confuse him and trip him up. Like he's really underestimating Lucky here.
That is the same time that you told the PI that you saw the Ford Edge around 3:30 to 4, correct?
About 3:30 is when I saw the Ford Edge.
It was dark out that night, wasn't it?
Correct.
There are no street lights down near that flagpole area of 34 Fairview, is there?
Yes, there is.
Okay. Was it on that night?
Yes, there is. Like, dude, Brennan is fucking serving him the hardest fucking serves, and Lucky's like, bah, get that shit out of my fucking face. Get that shit out of my house. Brendan's trying to fucking dunk on him, and Lucky's like, boom. Fucking just snatches that shit right out of his fucking hands before it fucking hits the goal. Get that shit out of my house.
I can't tell you honestly if it was.
You testified at trial? I'm sorry, at a proceeding last year?
I testified that there were, it was asked to me that there were not any streetlights. And I answered in the affirmative way. And living in that neighborhood, I saw that there were actual streetlights.
You testified at a proceeding last year, didn't you?
Yes.
When you testified at the proceeding, did you meet anybody from the defense close in time to that proceeding?
I don't know, when we met, how close to the proceedings it was.
Do you remember being prepared before you went into trial last time?
Yes.
By
Yannetti, excuse me.
Do you remember telling the defense private investigator that you made your final pass at 6:30 a.m.?
I remember I told him it was about 3 hours going down Cedar Crest and was not able to go to the end of Fairview due to the first responders.
At trial last year, do you remember saying it was 5:30?
I did.
And today you had said about 6:15.
Yes.
You weren't timing anything on a watch for times, were you?
I was not.
You were not accounting in any way for time whatsoever when you were out that night, were you?
No, I was not.
When you're providing times, are you trying to use your best memory?
Yes.
Do you recognize that you have a differing memory on times of what you did that night?
No.
You talked about your view from the tow truck and that you have a bunch of lights on it. On the tow truck, you had mentioned that your vision to the side was 5 to 6 feet.
Can you rephrase that, please?
Yes, of course. You said when you were driving your tow truck, you could see forward and sideways.
Okay. I don't want to be. I don't drive a tow truck.
My apologies. My apologies. Snowplow.
Thank
You
you.
said you can see forward and sideways.
I can see forward, I can see diagonal, and I can see right to left.
When you look right to left, you said you could see about 5 feet.
Correct.
Do the lighting conditions affect how well you can see?
No.
Does the weather?
Yes.
When you're plowing, are you ever looking at the street in front of you?
Yes.
Are you looking at people's front yards?
See,
Yes.
this motherfucker is acting like it's weird that he would remember a Ford Edge parked right there. Dude, it's not weird at all. It's something that would absolutely stick out in his mind because it's in front of a house that he is very, very familiar with, and it's on his route, and he was not able. He was put in a position to where he was like, do I call this in? There's a car parked right where I'm supposed to fucking plow, right in front of the house where the brother of my, well, he doesn't know that, but the Alberts, I know the Alberts, the brother of my boss at the pizza joint, like, there's a car parked in front of it and it's stopping me from plowing. Do I call it in or not? You know what? I know them. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm just going to go around. Fuck it. That's going to stick out in his mind. A guy like that, the guy's memory is like an elephant, dude. A guy like that is going to remember that. And you're sitting here trying to make it out to be like it's weird and that his memory would be somehow shaky. No, it wouldn't be. That's going to stick out, dude.
Yes,
And so what did you see as far as the front door of the Albert house that night? Was it open or closed?
it was closed.
The lights on?
I can't answer that for sure. I don't remember if there were lights on.
How about the neighbors on the left? Were you looking at their front lawn?
Yes.
Did you see if their lights were on?
Again, I didn't recognize if their lights were on.
Do you
Why
look
would
at
I
every
know their
neighbor's
lights
front
and
lawn
not
up to the door as you're driving
Oh.
snow plowing?
Stop.
I look to the right and to the left, and my eyes will graze to the yard. Yes, I will look there.
You were saying you have a specific memory of looking at the Albert front yard all the way to the door. Do you have a specific memory of looking at the other neighbors' yards to their door?
Can you repeat that, please? I'm sorry.
Yes, you said that you looked at the Albert house all the way to the door.
Correct.
Do you have a memory of looking at any other houses all the way to the door?
Yes.
Okay. Which house had a dumpster in front of it?
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to a dumpster. Dumpster wouldn't be in the front yard.
Are you sure on your route there's no dumpsters in anybody's front yard?
I can tell you there was a dumpster this week.
I'm more interested in January 29, 2020.
I can't answer to that. I don't remember.
A dumpster, a 15 by 20 foot dumpster, that would be bigger than a man's body, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would be.
And so you
Why
have
are you talking about
memory of the other
dumpsters,
homes in the
dude?
neighborhood that night.
I mean, I looked. I saw. I didn't see a dumpster that would have definitely stuck out.
Okay. You said you had vision as far as your eyes could see.
Correct.
What does that mean?
It means if there were, my eyes were, as long as they're open, I can see as far as they will let me see.
Is that dependent on lighting conditions, darkness, snow?
Correct.
That night, did you have any difficulty paying attention or driving?
I did not.
Did you have a small accident that night?
I did.
Okay. What did you hit?
I hit a portable basketball net.
Was that part because of the weather conditions? You didn't have a good opportunity to see it?
No, I definitely saw it and just did not judge enough.
You said that you went up and down the road a couple of times. When you were asked to describe the car that you said you saw, when you first spoke to the defendant's private investigator, you didn't give any detail about the type of car, did you?
I told her it was a Ford Edge.
Okay. When you first spoke to the investigator, you used the word Ford Edge?
I did.
Did they bring you to a parking lot at some point?
They did.
When they brought you to a parking lot, did they have you go out in the parking lot and look at a Ford Edge?
They did.
And when they had you go out and look at the Ford Edge, did they have you identify that as the type of car?
Yes, they did.
When you did that, how many cars were in the parking lot?
We had a hockey game, so there were several, at least 100, 150.
Who pointed you to the Ford Edge?
I pointed to it.
Did the investigator take you to the Ford Edge?
No, he did not.
It was just an open parking lot, and he asked you to look around to see if they happened to be a similar car?
No, I told him a Ford Edge. He wanted to make sure I knew what a Ford Edge looked like. I pointed to the Ford Edge, and he was satisfied.
So after you said a Ford Edge, he brought you to a parking lot to point out a car?
We were at my place of business. We just walked out the door.
Where was that?
At the Metropolis Ice Rink.
The rink?
Ice rink, yes.
Did you then meet the investigator later on at a school?
Yes, I did.
And who did you meet at the school?
I met Paul again.
And what was the purpose of that?
He wanted to go through my route.
You want to go through your route?
Correct.
And then did you choose to meet at the school?
I did.
You did?
I did.
And why did you choose the school?
It was an easier landmark for the gentleman to get to, and it was minutes from my route.
Did
Dude.
you know that former trooper
Yeah.
Proctor's
It's
sister worked there?
Logistically sound.
You
a
said
fucking
last year that
school.
when you went by Fairview, did you say that you would buy your final pass at 5:30 a.m.?
No.
Okay. Can I approach?
Yes.
Sir, when you have contact, you also wear reading glasses?
Yes. I can't read things up close.
Understood. This is trial testimony, testimony from June 21st, 2024.
Mhm.
And you were asked, do you recall what time it was that you wound up back on Fairview? You said, I don't honestly recall what specific time. Yes?
Yes.
And then you were asked, sure. Approximately, if it was 3:15 to 3:30, that second time, what would be your best estimate of the time when you came back? And what did you say?
Say about 5:30.
And so even last year, you were having some difficulty remembering the times, right?
Okay.
Were you having difficulty last year remembering the times that you were on Fairview?
No.
When you said you were on Fairview last year at 5:30, you didn't see anything on the Albert front lawn at 5:30 a.m.?
I wasn't on Fairview at 5:30 a.m.
Woo!
Were you asked last year about your travels on Fairview?
Yes,
Okay, when you asked about, recall, it was time you wound up on Fairview, and you said you didn't remember. Do you remember that testimony?
I do.
Is that true testimony?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you had some difficulties in your memory of when you were on Fairview when you testified last year. Isn't that fair to say?
No, it's not fair.
And then you were asked approximately if it was 3:15 to 3:30 the second time, what time did you come back?
And I said, if I were to guess, I said 45 minutes later.
Did you say, I would say, if I had to say, it would have been 5:30 up Fairview?
That time was incorrect. It was 6:15. I couldn't go down any further due to the police presence.
There you
So
go.
your testimony last year, you understandably made a mistake about the time, correct?
I did.
And it's true, isn't it, that you really have somewhat foggy memory about the times.
It is not.
That time of 5:30 is very different than the time you told the agents when you met them. I'm sorry, the law enforcement officials that weren't from Canton or the state police. That was very different than when you told them 3 to 3:30.
Very different.
And it's different than the 3:30 to 4 timeline that you gave the defense private investigator the first time you spoke to them. Right?
Correct.
And it's different. Than what you told the
I
Thursday that was-
really hope that the jury's picking up on this. I mean, Spanky's doing a great job of helping out with that. So you told the agents that were not local law enforcement, not state police. You told the agents that were not local law enforcement, not state police. And then you told the private investigator. So like it kind of leaves nothing but the feds.
It was 6:15.
It's different, but it's not.
When you plowed that night, did you have any reason to look for somebody who was lying on the side of the yard?
No,
Did you have any expectation somebody would be lying helpless on the side of the yard that night?
no,
If you had seen somebody, certainly you would have helped.
correct.
When you said that, when the private investigator asked you where you were when you said you saw the Ford Edge, are you saying that you didn't tell the private investigator that you were on Cedar?
I don't remember telling him I was on Cedar Crest. I do remember telling him that I had turned onto Fairview and saw the vehicle.
Cedar Crest in a storm at night is quite a distance from the flagpole at Fairview, isn't it?
No,
About 300 feet?
roughly.
Difficult to see under those conditions?
No.
Could we have Exhibit 71 stream 0 at about 6:17 a.m., please? Can you stop it there? Can you see that street light?
I do.
Okay. At the end of that road, past the street light, is Cedar Crest, correct?
Correct.
Is that a fair depiction of the elements that night around that time?
Yes.
And in this case, there's further illumination with the car that's facing us.
Correct.
That wasn't there, was it?
Correct.
You said after you saw law enforcement, did you come down Fairview after you saw law enforcement?
I was on Fairview already when I saw the law enforcement.
Did you drive by Cedar Crest again to go back and forth and watch what was going on, or did you go on your route?
I went on my route, which included Cedar Crest.
Did you keep driving by because you wanted to watch, or did you just leave and do your regular route?
I went and did my regular route.
Could I have 6:19:27, please?
Exactly. When you were driving by, did you happen to see a black-soled shoe laying in the driveway?
Could you play it? If you could back up a little before 6:19:27. Is that weather consistent with what it looked like to you?
Yes.
Is that you there?
I don't know if that's me. Yes, that's me. That is me.
Yeah, because
Could we go to 6:32:45, please?
So here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Brendan's here focused all this, like trying to discredit his judgment of time. But let's say that, he's off about 30 minutes, right? At the time where he claims he saw Ford Edge laying there, it doesn't fucking matter. Doesn't matter if it was 30 minutes before, 30 minutes after. It's in the middle of the fucking night. There's a Ford Edge fucking in the middle of the goddamn street. And it's before John O'Keefe's body was found. Period. It doesn't matter. 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there means fucking dick all, dude. Means nothing.
Is that you again?
That one, I can't tell if that was me again.
Could we go to 6:35:14, please? Was that you?
I don't see it. I don't see the truck. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Could we go back to 6:35:12?
That looks like to be a pickup truck. That does not look like my truck.
6:37:45, please. And that's you again, right?
Again, I can't tell you for sure if that was me.
Those were not your red and orange lights consistent with the earlier ones that went by?
What I saw the first time was the reflecting tape off the
I
body
mean,
of my
how's
truck.
he supposed
I
to
have
know that,
a
dude?
plow guy that is a contractor.
How the fuck's he supposed to know that? Look at that shit, dude. Like it's way down there and there's a snowstorm, dude. Like, stop.
We work tandem together.
And was he out there that night as well, going by Fairview?
Correct.
Okay. Did you ever tell the private investigator about him?
Yes, I did.
7:00, 22 seconds, please. Testify.
All that
Have you
shit.
received any recent aggression towards you for testifying?
No.
Have you had any further focus or problems?
No.
I have no further questions.
Very briefly, sir. You were asked by Mr. Brennan about whether you saw a dumpster that night. Do you recall that line of questioning?
I do.
In the aftermath of January 29th of 2022, was a dumpster all over the news for the next 3.5 years?
Not that I'm aware of.
Exactly.
You
Why
were
the
asked
fuck is he talking about dumpsters?
about going through your route with the defense investigator and giving a statement to the defense investigator.
Yes.
How soon after January 29th of 2022 was that?
2 weeks.
Were the events fresh in
Oh,
your
thank
mind
you,
at that
Norman.
time?
Appreciate
Yes.
that.
Finally, actually not finally, I got 2 more points, but they're both brief. You had mentioned that night you actually misjudged and hit a net.
Yes.
Can you describe the basketball apparatus that, and I'm going to ask you what part of it you hit, but describe what that looks like.
It's got a base with wheels on it. It's portable, so you can move it in and out. And it's got the basketball frame, and it's got the backboard and then rim.
Yeah,
So this
yeah.
is not a hole that was.
Yeah, it's one of those that fucking you fill with water or sand at the base to hold it steady. It's like portable. One of those basketball hoops.
Cemented into the ground.
Correct.
So perhaps we're all familiar with it, the black base that maybe you put sandbags on, that
Correct.
type of
There
thing
you
to keep
go.
it in place, but it does have wheels.
Correct.
All right, and you mentioned the net. The net is the rope netting that comes down, correct? There's also a hoop that keeps the net in place.
Yes.
And the pole.
Correct.
And the base.
Correct.
Of all those things, what part did your Franken truck actually catch?
It caught the net in the little bit part of the frame, of the frame where the net was.
Something that you saw from the beginning, you just misjudged the distance.
Correct.
Now, finally, with regard to the 5:30 testimony that you gave last year,
Yes.
did you also testify that the last pass that you tried to make when the police were blocking the scene was about 3 hours after that 3:30 second up and down?
Yes.
So why is it last year that you testified that it was 3 hours later, but you came up with the time of 5:30 as the final time?
As he's asking me these questions, I'm trying to do the math in my head. I'm sorry, math is not my strong suit.
What time was it when you made that final pass, sir?
6:15, 6:15, 6:30.
I have nothing further.
There you go. It's a matter of math.
You mentioned you're trying to do the math in your head. There's no reason why you would specifically remember certain times on each pass other than trying to remember and give an accounting, right?
Could you rephrase that, please?
Sure. You don't have your watch out on a certain schedule that you have to pass a certain street at a certain time.
Correct.
You weren't marking your times to some event when you were driving up and down the street that night, were you?
No.
So you're trying to go back with your memory and piece it together the best you can.
Correct.
And that's why you're giving estimates, yes?
Correct.
When you spoke to those law enforcement officials, not Canton, not state police, and you said at 3 o'clock you saw first responder vehicles, that was based on your memory, wasn't it? It was based on your memory.
Not at 3:30.
Right. Do you know that there was a car similar to a Ford Edge in front of 34 Fairview around 6 a.m. that morning?
I wasn't able to get in front of Fairview Drive, 34 Fairview, at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Have you ever met Kerry Roberts before?
I have not.
Counsel just asked you if there was a lot of media about this
Enter
case.
Kerry
You said that there was.
Roberts.
Did he just ask you a question about whether there was a lot of attention on this case? Did he just talk to you about everything that happened after this case, all the attention on this case? Remember his question about all the attention after this case?
He asked specifically a question about the dumpsters.
And he said that wasn't subject to a lot of attention, was it?
Correct.
Right. But this case was.
The case itself, yes.
The people involved in this case were subject to a lot of attention.
Correct.
And you spoke to the defense investigator after this case as far as attention is concerned. You remember speaking to the investigator on June 5th, 2023.
Yes.
And you know, coincidentally, that is the day that the blogger put out the articles on you, accusing you of not doing the right thing?
Accusing you of not doing the right thing. Read the article.
Showing you a document. Let's take a look at that document. What day is that document dated?
June 5th, 2023.
Without reading it, that document talks about you.
Correct.
And your friends and people in the community talked to you about this article, didn't they?
Not specifically this article, but they were sending me stuff that were being printed about me, yes.
Why don't you take a little look at what's said and you can tell us whether that's the same type of information that was being conveyed to you through intermediaries.
Can you ask that question again, please?
Okay, sir. Was this some of the kind of attention that you were receiving on June 5th after you spoke to the defense investigator?
Yes.
Like come side.
Wow, dude. This is just fucking ridiculous. Wait. There we go. There we go. Oh man, dude. Dude's like, what the fuck? Why the fuck are you like, you're accusing me of threatening this guy? That's the look on his face right now. I'm being accused of threatening this guy? What? Like he knows the camera's on him. He knows it. That shit is so funny. Dude, this is the most bizarre shit I've ever seen. Turtle Boy Media Corner. Listen, dude, I'm all here for that shit. I am here for the Turtle Boy versus DePietro bullshit, dude. That shit is so funny. I am here for it. It's so good.
Hey, thank you so much for watching the Karen Reed trial.
Nobody gives a fuck. Dude, shut up. Shut up. Like, yeah, he's over here telling everybody, like, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Good Lord, man. Come on with this bullshit. Let's go.
Sorry, I have just a few more questions. When I had mentioned about meeting the defense investigator on June 5th, 2023, I misspoke. It was June 5th, 2024. Does that sound more like it?
Yes.
June 5th, 2024, was that before, shortly before you testified before?
Yes.
you were asked on redirect examination whether any dumpsters got any attention about this case. The question I was asking is, did you notice things that might have been open and obvious? And you have no memory of an actual dumpster in the area, correct?
Correct.
If I could have on the screen Exhibit 37, still photo from that clip. Have a moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
It's a video that I'll stop in for a certain point.
Okay.
Exhibit 71.
Dude, let's fucking go, bro.
A person or persons were putting out private pictures of you online.
I did notice.
And those private pictures, you didn't give anybody permission or want that attention, did you?
I did not.
In fact, it wasn't just some private pictures. It was pictures taken from a number of different times in your life, correct?
Yes,
You never gave anybody permission to do that.
I did not.
You didn't want people talking about you or asking you questions. That was none of their business, did you?
I did not.
And it was embarrassing that you were being made this public spectacle when you had done nothing wrong, correct?
Ask it differently.
Was it embarrassing what they were doing to you?
I wouldn't say embarrassing, as more as aggravating.
In fact, they were calling your boss. Yes?
I'm going to allow that.
Yes,
And you mentioned how hard you work.
yes,
Plow, you even just other pieces of 8 years.
yes,
Zamboni, anytime you work, you try hard, don't you?
I do.
And when someone's calling your boss, giving undue attention to you, didn't it create some concern it could affect your livelihood?
I did not think it was going to affect me in that manner.
In addition to dragging you into this, because of you, your brother was dragged into this, wasn't he?
Ask it differently.
When you were getting this information about what was happening, you learned that they were also dragging your brother into this because of you, correct?
I'll sustain that.
Did you learn?
This stuff right here, this testimony will probably be brought into Turtle Boy's trial. They'll try to use this shit, and Turtle Boy just more bullshit to try to fucking twist on him.
That information was coming out about your brother?
I knew my brother was dealing with other issues regarding this case.
And certainly, you're close with your brother.
Yes,
You care for your brother.
yes,
You did not want to upset anybody and have more attention brought onto your brother, did you?
I did not.
And there was an attempt to link your brother to one of the others, in fact, correct?
Yes,
As well as you.
I don't know if I was being linked.
Did you know the information of trying to so-called out you about the fact that you work for Chris Albert?
I'm going to sustain that the way it's phrased.
Were you aware of your friends and family were telling you about what was going on, about an attempt to draw a relationship between you and the others?
No.
And were you aware of people telling you what was happening, that there was attacks on you personally, like finances and things like that?
Yes, I was aware of that.
And certainly, that is pretty discouraging when that is happening and you've done nothing wrong, isn't it?
It was, again, aggravating.
And this was all happening before you came in and testified last time, that's right?
Correct.
After you testified, things got better.
I wouldn't say better. It's gotten a little more easily manageable.
You were no longer being harassed, you were being embraced.
Correct.
Yeah, correct?
Yes.
Showing you a photograph, you recognize that?
I do.
Is that part of the embracing process after you testified a certain way the last time?
It was after I testified, yes.
With redactions, we will introduce a select portion of this.
So I need to see what that is. I'll decide on and make this very brief, please.
That's the most bizarre shit in the world, dude. Look at this shit. Like, the very person they're talking about is sitting right fucking there, dude. Like, have you ever seen any shit like this in your life? I've never seen anything like this. The very person that this dude is talking about, he's not naming any fucking names, but he's sitting right fucking there. Like, how is that not going to affect his testimony? Like, he's acting like he's not there. That's what's weird about it. He's sitting right there, and he's acting like he's not there. At no point does he go, is that person in this room?
So that's next in evidence, Madam Clerk. Madam Court,
Like-
please.
And I just showed you a photograph. Is that a fair and accurate depiction of you after your last testimony?
It's
Yes.
just
Reflecting
weird
you
that
now
that's
being erased
allowing
rather
it.
than attacked.
Yes.
Could we show the photo, please, Ms. Gilman, with court permission?
Yes.
And that's you, Mr. Loughran?
Yes.
You can take that down, please. Thank you for your time.
Like, okay, so that's him with fucking Rita. So what?
Sir, if I might, Your Honor.
Sure.
Mr. Loughran, I should say. The questioning about the attention.
I don't feel so bad. He just did what I did about fucking 10 times in this stream alone.
That you received in 2023 when you received secondhand the information from the blogger. Was that before or long after you were interviewed and gave a statement to the defense investigator in February of 2022?
There
It
you
was
go.
long after.
Long after.
Okay. All right, Mr. Loughran, you are all set, sir.
Long after.
There are another witnesses. All
The defense calls Karina Kakus.
right, do you need to see me before as she's coming in, or will that
Karina
be in a while?
Kakus.
I can't remember.
Why don't you come on up?
Karina Kakus.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
I've been waiting for this because the rumor is that the only reason she testified for the Commonwealth last trial, the rumor, is because Jennifer McCabe told her that there was ring footage proving that Karen Reed backed into Boston police officer John O'Keefe. Ring camera footage that captured the whole thing. Big lie. Even a news station, I believe it was News 5. I'm not sure though. They ended up saying the same thing when it happened. So it was just cut and dry. Right? But here we are in the second trial 3 years later, and this footage has never surfaced because it doesn't exist. Why doesn't it exist? The simple answer is because Karen never struck John O'Keefe with her Lexus SUV. It never happened. That's the simple answer.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Would
afternoon.
you please introduce yourself to the jury and spell both your first name and your last name?
Sure. My name's Karina Kakus. It's Karina. Last name Kakus. Kolokithas.
That's almost as bad as your name.
It's long.
In what town do you live, ma'am?
I live in Canton.
How long have you lived there?
We've lived there for 22 years.
Where did you grow up?
So I initially grew up in Randolph, and then we moved to Braintree, and I finished my last 3 years of high school and stayed there till I was married.
And where did you go to school after high school?
So after high school, I went to Northeastern University. I did the pharmacy program there.
And what is your profession?
I'm a pharmacist.
How long have you worked as a pharmacist?
So total years is about 30 years as a pharmacist, but I
Pharmacy mama.
have been at my current job for about 24 years.
Are you married?
I am married.
To whom?
His name is Nicholas Kolokithas.
How long have you been married for?
24 years.
Do you have children?
I have 2 children.
And without giving us their names, can you tell us if you have boys or girls and what their ages are?
So I have 2 girls. One is 19 and one is 17.
Have you raised your children in Canton?
Yes, I have.
Do your children play sports or have they played sports in Canton?
I have both girls played sports in Canton. One actively is playing sports there, and one is in college. So she's not playing sports.
Understood. What sports have your girls played?
So they primarily played basketball, and my youngest plays lacrosse as well.
From raising your children in Canton and attending their sporting events, I'm assuming,
Like,
have you met other
if that was my pharmacist, dude, I'd be sick all the fucking time. I'd be like, isn't there something you could give me, doctor?
parents with children on your daughter's teams?
Yes, I have.
Specifically, did you come to know Jennifer and Matthew McCabe?
Yes, I have.
And is that the way that you came to know them?
Correct. Typically, like that's how we came to become friends with people, through the sports.
Now, prior to January 28th of 2022, how long had you known Jennifer McCabe specifically?
I would say about 10 years or so.
And during that time, what was the nature of your relationship with Jennifer McCabe?
So we were just friends through the kids. Multiple kids did different sports. They played on different sports teams, so we were friends through that.
And how often, or if at all, did you socialize with her and or her husband?
So typically, sometimes if the kids had play dates, it was mostly my youngest daughter, to be honest. So my youngest daughter and one of her daughters were good friends and played on similar sporting teams. So they would have play dates and stuff like that. So sometimes we'd see them after a game or they had a play date or something like that.
And I'm sorry, it's a little loud with the fan. The last part of your...
I ain't even lying, dude. I'd be Big Pharma's biggest supporter. I'd be like, yo, I'm sick as fuck. But man, I've always got my medicine. I'm always sick. But Big Pharma's always there for me.
Part of your answer, if I didn't hear it, I'm thinking the jurors might not have heard that. You said it was mostly after games?
After like sporting, like after play dates.
Dude, I'd have like some people got long COVID. I'd have longer COVID. I'd be getting booster after booster.
Or sports and stuff like that.
I see. And would there be times where, after a game you go out for pizza, that type of thing?
Yeah, like you go out for pizza, or the girls would be like, "Hey, mom, can we have a play date? Can a couple of the girls, come over to the house and do stuff like that?"
Prior to January 28th of 2022, did you know John O'Keefe?
So I knew John O'Keefe same way. His niece and my younger daughter were good friends, are good friends. So same thing. We knew him through the sports as well. My husband coached his niece in a couple teams, and they also played soccer together. So that's how we knew John.
And do you remember how long you would have known him for before January 28th of 2022?
I would say about 9 years or so.
And what was the nature of that relationship?
Friendly. Didn't go out with him, but we were friends. Like we saw him all the time.
For real?
He would, take my younger daughter with him.
I'd be like, doctor, I think I'm allergic to air. Could you prescribe me every fucking elixir there is, bro? I need every EpiPen. And then I got an allergy to that EpiPen. Can I get another one?
I don't. We just saw him all the time, so weekly, I would say.
Sure. What about Karen Reed? Did you know Karen Reed prior to January 28th of 2022?
So same thing. Met Karen through John, and I believe the first time I met her was at Jennifer McCabe's house sometime in 2020.
2020.
Correct.
So this would have been during the pandemic.
Correct.
And do you see Karen in the courtroom today?
I do.
Would you please point her out and describe what she's wearing?
She is wearing a blue suit at the table with her lawyers.
Okay. May the record reflect that the witness is identified Ms. Reed?
Okay.
Now, prior to January 28th of 2020,
she'd be like, what are you doing here again? Restless leg syndrome. just fill me up. Take your time.
How often would you have seen or interacted with Karen Reed in any capacity, if you know?
So Karen sometimes would come to watch games of John's niece. So I would see her there and we just casually talk.
And what was the nature of your relationship with her prior to January 28th of 2022?
We were friendly.
All right. Now, directing your attention to January 28th of 2022, do you recall that being a Friday?
Correct.
What did you do that day?
So that day I worked.
As a pharmacist?
Correct.
Do you recall what your hours were?
Approximately, I would say 8 to 4:30 that day.
What plans did you have after work?
So after work, my plans were to go to the Canton High basketball game to watch my daughter play.
And what plans came up for before the game that night?
So before the game, before I left work, there was a text that went around saying that some of the parents were going to meet at the Canton Junction before.
It's true. This woman right here, 67 years old as well as Alessi. Okay? I'm kidding. I don't know how old she is. But what's interesting is Bob Alessi is also a pharmacist.
Before the game, and if anybody wanted to stop by and grab a bite to eat.
And what is the Canton Junction?
So it used to be like a little pub /
The
restaurant in
longest
Canton.
COVID, bro. The longest.
Did you go to the Canton Junction?
So I went home first because I had a bag I had to switch out of because we have to have plastic clear bags at work. So anyway, so I went home, and then after that, I stopped at Canton Junction.
Okay. And did you go alone or with someone?
So I went by myself.
And when you got there, did you see people that you knew?
Correct. So I walked in, and there was a bunch of parents there from the varsity teams, the varsity team.
And excuse me, was either John O'Keefe or Karen Reed there?
They were not there.
What about Jennifer McCabe and or Matthew McCabe, her husband?
I believe Matthew McCabe was there. I don't believe Jennifer went to the Canton Junction.
Now, how long were you at the Canton Junction for?
I would say less than an hour.
Do you recall about what time it was that you would have been leaving there?
I'm not really sure. The game started at 6:30, so before 6:30.
All right. And when you left the Canton Junction, where did you go?
I went to Canton High School to watch the game.
And in the gymnasium, with whom did you sit to watch your daughter's basketball game?
I'm not sure who I sat with, but it would have been those parents from the varsity team, whoever was there and wherever there was a spot.
Was it generally a custom that the parents of all the kids on the team would kind of congregate together in the stands?
Correct.
Do you recall what time the basketball game ended?
I believe the game ended around 8:30.
Where did you go after the basketball game?
So after the game ended, I went down and waited on the court for my daughter to come out of the locker room, greeted her, the players, and then I said to everybody, I'm going home.
Okay. And you did go home?
Correct. I went home after the game.
And having now made it home, what were your plans that night?
So my plans were to stay home. I was tired. I worked all day, watched the game. I was pretty much done with the day. So my plans were to stay home.
At some point, did those plans wind up changing?
So then I started getting text messages from my husband saying, you should come out. We're going to go to the waterfall. And I said, no, I'm not coming.
And what is the waterfall?
So that's a restaurant that has a bar, and it's on in Canton on Washington Street.
Okay, so you've given your husband the stiff arm, so
Correct.
to speak, right? You're
Correct.
not going.
Not going.
So what happens?
So then he keeps on texting me. He's like, I'm at the waterfall. You should really come. It's fun. There's a band. And I was like, really? Like, I don't want to go. And then my kids got involved with the conversation.
And how did that affect your decision?
So they started saying to me, Mom, you never go out. You never do anything. You know, Dad's by himself. Just go. Keep him company while he eats. So I reluctantly went.
All right, so you were guilted into it.
Guilted 100% into it.
Bro, lady, you just fell for the fucking oldest trick in the book. Mom, you should really go out. Let your hair down. You have such beautiful hair. Fucking dude. Soon as they walked out the door, fucking ripping bongs. Ripping bongs. They got the fucking your parents' LPs out. Check it out, man. You ever heard of Pink Floyd? Dude, lady, you fell for it. You fell for it. Please. Dude, anytime, dude, my kid tried to pull that shit with me, dude, I'd have been like, bro, stop it. Let's stop that shit right now, bro. This is not going to happen. Okay. If I go out, it's because I already expect there to be a fucking orgy in here when I'm gone. And I have to fucking mentally fucking just like come to terms with it. You know? Like, stop it. Fucking little Satan spawns.
So then I went to the waterfall.
Do you recall about what time it was that you got to the Waterfall Bar and Grill?
I believe I got there approximately 9:30 or so.
And when you first arrived there, who was there, if anyone, that you recognized?
So my husband was there, and then I recognized Jennifer and Matt McCabe.
And what happened after you got there?
So after I got there, I walked in, and I said to my husband, I'm like, where's everybody from the basketball team? And he said, I don't know. They all sort of split up. He's like, don't worry. Just hang out here. I already ordered a sandwich, so just hang out with me while I eat, and then we'll go.
And were you introduced to anyone?
Yeah, so then Jennifer McCabe started introducing me to all her family. So I got to meet a lot of them. It was fun. It was a good time.
And do you recall specifically who you met?
So I think I believe I met.
Facts.
Well, she sort of just introduced me to whoever was at the table. So I'm not sure 100%, but just like the niece, her sister, her brother-in-law, like people like that.
All right, the Albert family?
Correct.
And when you're being introduced to a bunch of people at once, it can be tough to keep everybody's names straight at the time.
Right. It's kind of overwhelming. There was a lot of Jen's family.
Now, what were you drinking that night?
So that night I drank water.
And the whole time you were at the waterfall, did you drink anything else except for water?
I only drank water that night.
Now, was there a point when you were going to leave the waterfall before they closed up for the night?
So, I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Sure. You wound up leaving at a certain time, correct?
I never left.
Well, you left because you're in court today. You're not still at the waterfall.
Okay, correct.
So what I'm trying to get at is, at some point you left the waterfall, but was there a point before that where you were planning to go?
Correct.
Tell us about that.
So my husband had eaten, and I said, you know what, I think I'm going to get going. And I was about to get going, and then John and Karen walked in.
Okay. And when you say John and Karen, you're referring to?
John O'Keefe and Karen Reed.
And why did that change your plans?
I was excited to see them. I liked Karen, so as soon as I saw her walk in, I was like, hey, I'm going to stay. I want to talk to her.
And what did you notice about John O'Keefe's mood when he arrived that night?
So John was very happy. His niece had just gotten into a private school called Bishop Fian, and that was like the first thing he was talking about. He was elated that she got in, and he was telling everybody about that.
And thereafter, how much interaction did you have with John and or Karen?
Karen and I probably spent the entire night talking. Maybe give or take some time that we didn't, but the majority of the time, Karen and I were speaking together.
And if you had to estimate, how long a conversation did you have with Karen?
Maybe an hour, like 40, 50 minutes out of the, like if we spent like an hour together, perhaps we spoke 50 minutes of those out of that hour.
And without telling us the content of the conversation, what was the subject matter, if you remember? So
Karen was also, she mentioned being excited about Kaylee getting into Bishop Fian. And well, just when I first saw her, she first started talking about my daughter. So I saw her, she came in, she greeted me. And when we did start talking, she just started talking about my daughter and how much she really loved my daughter's relationship with John's niece.
Okay. And while you were having this conversation with Karen, was it an easy conversation back and forth?
Very easy.
Where were you located within the waterfall while you were having this conversation?
We were at a I don't remember where we were talking. We were sitting down talking at a table.
And how close did you get to her when you were speaking with her?
In order for someone to hear you, because of the band being so loud, we were probably a couple feet from each other.
And in what direction were you facing when you were speaking to her? And I'm talking.
Okay, so just a little update. Those of you who follow me on X, that text thread is still going on. Like somebody got the wrong number, asked me for a manicure. And still like I'm just texting back and forth with them. And I'm trying to get them to call me the manicure master. Because if they want a manicure from me, they better fucking recognize. Call me the manicure master.
In relation to Karen?
I don't remember how, like if she was next to me at this point. She could have been next to me at this point.
All right. And your face would have been facing where?
At her.
Okay. That actually was a question. I'm sorry. This is kind of a silly word talk, but I have to ask the questions this way.
We were face to face.
There you go. All right. So in other words, Karen was also facing you when she was speaking to you?
Correct.
Did you notice what Karen was drinking?
So she was drinking a drink it was a clear liquid out of a clear glass, and I assumed it to be alcohol of some sort, but I'm not sure.
And while you were talking with her, can you describe, was the conversation coherent?
Very coherent.
Was she making sense?
She was.
Was she engaged in the conversation?
She was.
And did you make any observations regarding her sobriety?
She seemed fine to me.
And you're a pharmacist, correct?
I am a pharmacist.
And you were that night?
I was that night.
How much interaction did you see
there you go.
that Karen had with John O'Keefe?
They had some interaction.
Now, here's the thing. Do I personally think that Karen had more to drink later after she dropped John off? Probably. Now, I don't know for sure. And I'm not even saying that I honestly feel that way. I'm saying I'm entertaining the possibility, maybe even considering it to be a likelihood. But I'm not saying, yeah, I think so. But I mean, yeah, I mean, because she's pretty erratic in those voicemails. You know what I mean?
And was there one specific interaction that stands out in your mind then and today? And I'm talking about a physical interaction.
When they hugged at one point.
Okay. And did John come over to Karen at one point and do something?
He did.
What did he do?
So John went over to Karen and he gave her a kiss on the forehead.
Okay. And that kiss on the forehead, why did that stand out to you?
So honestly, I'd never seen something like that before, a boyfriend do to a girlfriend in public.
That shit right there, women notice that shit because it's a fucking awesome thing that like women love that shit. You know what I mean? Like, bro, are you serious? This person just texted me. So when do you have time? Bro, I it's so funny, dude. I'll respond in a minute. Yeah, I mean, women love to see that shit. That's gonna stand out. A dude like kisses his lady on the forehead just to let her know that he appreciates her. For sure, dude. Like that shows like that you really love that person, you know, that you really appreciate them being in your life and you don't mind the whole world knowing. And it's not weird PDA either. You know what I mean? It's not like you're sitting there fucking like making out, you know, like trying to swallow the other person in public. You know what I mean? It's just a quick little, you know, hey, this is my girl, man. I'm proud that you're my girl. You know, it's a nice gesture. It stands out to a woman who has a romantic nature to her.
Never saw that. So it just stood out to me. I was like, wow, that's the sweetest thing I've ever seen.
See what I mean?
Can we queue up Exhibit 22, Mr. Wolk? I'd like to go to approximately 11:36 and 41 seconds. And if we can, well, first of all, have you seen that video before me?
I have.
Do you recognize what Exhibit 22 depicts?
It shows a waterfall.
And is that consistent with what it looked like when you were there that night?
Correct.
And you previously identified that as being a fair and accurate video of that night?
I do.
If we could zoom in, well, first of all, again, let me try and lay a foundation. Where would you be, if you recall, at the waterfall within that video? To the right, to the left?
I'm in the right, in a black top, sitting on a chair.
Okay, could we zoom in on that area, Mr. Wolf? Okay, we've zoomed in. Do you see yourself?
I do.
And where are you seated?
So there's a white jacket on the back of a chair. That's me.
And do you see anybody else in that video that you now recognize?
I see Brian Higgins.
Okay. And when you say Brian Higgins, is that somebody that you had known prior to that night?
I did not know Brian.
He was one of the people you were introduced to?
Correct.
And you since have learned to put the face to the body, or I'm sorry, I should say the name to the body or the name to the face?
Correct.
All right. And where do you see Brian Higgins?
He has like an emblem on the back of like a sweatshirt.
All right. So his back is to the camera?
Correct.
And we have not located that pointer. Thank you, sir. May I approach the
Yes.
Now, if you can, ma'am, would you please use that pointer to show where you are first?
That's me.
Okay. And Brian Higgins?
That's him.
All right. Do you recognize, at this point in the video, do you recognize anybody else?
Not right now.
Okay. If we could start to play it, Mr. Wolf. And stop for a second. I would ask you, as soon as you recognize somebody else, if you speak up and tell us to stop, and we'll pause.
Okay. So right there is Karen's head.
Okay. Is that the back of Karen's head, or?
Correct. So that's the back of her head.
All right.
And then
by the way, just so the record's clear, over Mr. Higgins' shoulder, there appears to be a face looking forward on the right shoulder. You see that, right?
correct.
You're not referring to that. You're referring to the long hair that's in back of that face.
Yeah. Can I point to it again? Okay. So
Right here.
I'm referring to that head right there.
Understood.
Right there.
Okay. And
And then-
I think you had said something else.
And then that right there is John O'Keefe with the hat.
Okay. There's a bright
Right
cap.
here.
Correct.
And on the video, as we're looking at it, it's to
So
the
here's
right
John,
up the
here's
top.
Karen.
That's to the right of the PM.
John
timer on
goes,
there.
Right to the
gives
right.
her a kiss on the
Correct, sorry.
forehead.
If we can continue to play.
Boom.
Stop.
There's the kiss on
What
the
do you see?
forehead right there.
So I see John giving Karen a kiss on the forehead.
Is that what you saw that night?
I did. I was looking right at them when it happened.
You were facing them.
I was facing them.
And what about Mr. Higgins? Where was he facing?
It appears that he's facing them as well.
That
Yeah,
happened right in front of him.
Right here.
That's what it looks like.
If we could play. Further.
No neck or big neck. Isn't that what Nurse Kim calls them? Big neck
Stop,
Higgy.
and we can take that down. Now, that night, did you have any information about the nature of Karen Reed's previous interactions with Brian Higgins?
None whatsoever.
Okay. How long did you stay at the waterfall? Or if you recall, about what time you got ready to leave?
I believe things wrapped up around midnight.
And with whom?
And like it was cold that night, dude. Like it was real cold that night because there was a blizzard. So you know that all the dudes had Higgy dick that night. No good. No
were you
bueno.
leaving around midnight.
So my husband and Matt McCabe stayed behind. They were helping the
No bueno. No Higgy dick.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. 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 I think we got a super dad.
How dare you?
My Journey with Lori Donnelly. Thank you so much. I don't understand why they don't show that John actually gestures back to Higgins in that clip. I don't think this is going to be the last time they show that clip. So, yeah, I'm sure that they studied that clip front to back. So, but thank you so much. I appreciate it.
helping the band clean up and stuff. So it was myself, Jennifer McCabe, and Karen Reed. that walk out together.
Okay. And you've previously seen video footage of the end of the night with yourself, Karen, and Jennifer McCabe sort of in a grouping.
Correct.
Excuse me, I'm sorry that I just need to clear my throat. I hope that's the last time.
That's okay.
Did you see on that same video at the same time, there's a grouping in another area of the bar at the same time?
Correct.
And do you recall who was in that grouping?
I believe it was Chris Albert, Brian Albert, and Brian Higgins.
Okay. Could we now publish again Exhibit 22? And I'd like from the approximate start time of 11:57 and 42 seconds. And if we could hit play, Mr. Wolf. Oh, I'll tell you what, stop it for a sec. Thank you. Could you zoom in, please, on the right portion of that video, the upper right? We'll start with that. Okay. So this is the start of this clip.
Because you got to remember,
11:57.
this is her testimony as to her memory. That's all this is. She's there pretty much to show that there was no bad blood between Karen and John. That's basically what the purpose of her testimony is to say, hey, no, I noticed that he kissed her on the forehead. Karen didn't seem that drunk. John seemed happy because his niece got into a private school. He's very, very happy about this. And, you know, everybody seemed celebratory. I stayed extra because I hadn't seen Karen. I really liked Karen. We ended up talking if we talked for an hour, we talked for 50 minutes out of that hour. It was just a pleasant night. That is the entire purpose of her testimony now.
7:38. Do you see anybody in that clip that you recognize?
Yes. So I am the person with the jacket with the fur around the hood, and Karen Reed is the other woman that I'm talking to.
Right. We can play that, Mr. Wolf. And right now, do you recognize anybody else in the background of that?
So to the right in the plaid shirt is my husband, Nicholas.
Okay. What about over your left shoulder?
So over my left shoulder is John O'Keefe.
And does that appear to be his back?
Correct.
Okay. You can play. And he was stop for a second. He was in your line of vision at that point, correct?
Correct.
What does he appear to be doing?
He appears to be like paying a tab or something like that, or maybe getting a drink. I'm not sure.
Okay. And do you see him looking in a particular direction right now?
He looks to be looking over his left.
Continue to play. Oh, if we can pause for a second. I neglected to ask you to point out with the pointer.
I'm sorry.
We might as well use it.
Okay.
So Karen and her
first.
Okay. So that's me.
All right, Karen.
That's Karen.
And John O'Keefe.
See, so her and Karen are deep in conversation. They don't even know what the fuck is going on right now, which is fascinating. Like, it's on camera. There's no way, like, Karen's back is turned to the whole thing except for Higgins, but the one would absolutely be naive to not assume that Karen is making a conscious effort to not look in Brian Higgins' direction. She is there with her boyfriend. Those 2 weeks of silence between text messages have already passed. It's done. He's already texted, well. She didn't respond. She is not interested in Brian Higgins at all. She was having problems with John earlier that day. All she wanted to do was do exactly what they're doing right now. And they are good. They are happy together. John appreciates her. He gives her a kiss on the forehead. He's happy that that's his lady. He wants the world to know that that's his lady. And it could have been. It could be that John, since he did know that there was something between Karen and Brian Higgins, something. To what extent, he doesn't know. Just enough to where he had to ask Karen at one point if they hooked up. So, John right now, maybe when he kissed her on the forehead, in part wanted Brian Higgins to see it. It's just a man being a man. Same thing women do. Women do the same thing. I don't even want to hear that shit. Y'all are way more catty about it too. But like I've had girlfriends tell me where they get real affectionate. And then I'm like, what's this all about? You know what I'm saying? Like, we're at the bar and I'm like, what is this all about? What are you doing? Right? And then they're like, that chick over there's checking you out, and I'm just letting her know who you're with. And I'm like, okay. Okay. You know, that's all you could say in that situation, by the way. Like, okay. You can't say anything else. So, like, but that's a thing that people do, but it's also honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how me and this girl were in private. We just weren't all about the PDA. You know what I mean? So, like, when it comes to this situation right here, when it comes to Karen Reed or John O'Keefe going and giving her a kiss on the forehead, knowing what's going on with Brian Higgins, maybe that's his way of just being like, hey, man, none of that shit matters, homie, because we got this that you'll never understand. And maybe that got under Brian Higgins' skin. Maybe it was in part designed to get under his skin, but I don't think it was designed to instigate an altercation. Just because you're letting someone know, it doesn't mean you're looking for a fight. It means, hey, now you know. And that's all. And it's totally cool. And a grown man will see that and be like, the better man won. Good for you. And I wish you all the best. That is what a real man would do in any situation like that. But that's not what happened, is it?
John O'Keefe.
That's John.
Okay, continue to play, Mr. Wolf. Stop. Back up just a sec. Oh. I'll tell you when to start. Yep. Play. Stop. Okay. Do you see what direction John O'Keefe is facing now?
He's looking to the left.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah, you guys can see my cursor, right?
Stop. What direction is he facing now?
To the left.
And what is over to the left?
I believe that's where the other group of men are located, perhaps.
Okay, keep going. And I'd like to run this to 11:58:25.
Now, here's that footage that you were talking about.
At this point, his whole body is turned to the left, correct?
Correct.
And he appears to be facing where the other group of men were?
I'm sorry, repeat that?
He appears to be facing
Lori
the direction
Donnelly,
where the
this
other group
is
of men were?
the part you were talking about. So they are showing it.
11:58:25. Okay, that's perfect. Now, keeping the video up, I'd like to now scroll over to the left side of the screen, and we're going to start that at 11:57:42, the same approximate time we started the previous discussion. Stop. Okay. You've previously described the other three men.
That's Chris Albert right here. I hope you guys can see my cursor. That's Chris Albert. That's Brian Higgins. That's Brian Albert. Okay. Chris Albert right now has physically put his hands on Brian Higgins to try to stop him from behaving in whatever manner he's behaving. Right. There's Brian Albert right here. He's looking at his brother, Chris Albert, kind of like, seems like he's doing kind of a, what are you doing right now?
Are you able to identify them on this video now in this still frame clip?
I believe I am able.
And who do you see?
I see Chris Albert, Brian Higgins, and Brian Albert.
And which one is which?
Chris Albert is the one that grabbed Brian Higgins' arm, and Brian Albert is with his back towards us.
Okay, now I'll ask you to use the pointer and point to Chris Albert, please.
That's Chris Albert.
On the right. Where's Brian Higgins?
That's Brian Higgins.
In the middle?
Yeah, in the middle. And that's Brian Albert,
okay.
I believe.
And with regard to Brian Higgins, which direction is he facing?
He's facing the left.
He's facing to the left?
I mean, I'm sorry, he's facing to the right.
Okay. And the direction that he's facing in, who's over there?
Sustained.
What is over there? Is that the direction of the bar?
Sustained.
Okay. Continue to play, please. Stop. Did you see he grabbed his arm a second time?
Correct.
And Brian Higgins is facing in which direction this time?
He's facing the bar area.
Continue to play, please. Okay. You noticed some motion that Brian Higgins made?
he waved his
Back it up for a second, Mr. Wolf, please. So, did you see a motion?
He put his left arm up.
Okay. Appeared to be summoning somebody?
Objection to this whole line.
All right, I've slowed this down to regular speed now. This isn't slowed down, it's just slower because it's the regular speed, because I want the footage to be shown in real time in the right speed.
Continue to play. Stop. Did you see a motion that
He put his left arm up.
okay? Appeared to be summoning somebody?
Objection to this whole line.
Now, something that is very, very, very noteworthy that we cannot overlook. This is the very first time that this footage has been shown in court. Okay? This is the very first time that this footage has been shown in court. So we knew about this footage last trial. And now here's something that happened, because I've been fixated on this footage along with JFK, Show Off, and James Jackson. The three of us most definitely have been pretty hyper focused on the relevance of this footage for quite a while. And the interesting thing about this, long before the gag order, it was the first time that I met Alan Jackson. Okay. This was long before the second trial even started. And I went to a dinner. Alan Jackson was there. It was the first time I got to meet him. It was awesome. And I had to ask him about this. I asked him, and Microdots as well. Microdots has been pretty hyper focused on it lately as well. Thank you, Connor McManus. And Dolly, thank you for the super sticker. Thank you. So, and I asked Alan Jackson, I said, why? I was like, there's this footage of the Waterfall Bar and Grill on January 28th, 2022, just before John O'Keefe goes to 34 Fairview, right? I was like, how come you guys didn't show that? I mean, you had Higgins on the stand. How come you guys didn't show that? Now, here's the thing. Until this is all over, I'm not going to tell you what he told me. Sorry. But I want you to know that I asked Alan Jackson about this, and he did give me an answer. And so it did sort of put my mind at ease, but my mind feels at ease now knowing that here we are and they're using it. So I feel a lot better. But at the time I was baffled. I was baffled. And I asked him and he gave me a pretty good lawyery answer. But yeah, I know, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I know. Terrible.
You suck.
Yeah. But I promise, listen, I'm going to have all kinds of juicy nuggets for you guys. When all this is over, I'll have all kinds of juicy nuggets for you guys. I promise.
Continue to play. I'm sorry, Your Honor. Continue to play. I'll bear that in mind. Okay, we can stop there. Ms. Kolakithis, did you see how many times Brian Higgins motioned with his arm?
Sustained. Come all versus please, mister.
Understood. Understood. Now, prior to this night, had you known or been aware of Chris?
I
Just
don't-
knew him.
I don't know. Now, I don't want to come off like I have any inside information on this case, because the truth is I don't. When it comes to this trial, there is a gag order. I have spent time with Karen and her defense team, but they are very careful to not discuss any details of the case around anybody outside of their circle. All I can ever comment on is their spirit, their attitude. That's all I can comment on, because that's all I ever see. Personal conversations such as musical tastes and things like that are the things that we talk about. We don't talk about anything involving the case. They take that very seriously. But before this gag order, there was a couple of things that I was able to talk one-on-one with them about. And but when the time comes, I'll feel comfortable sharing that stuff. But until then, it's an open case. I'm not doing that. I mean, even if it's harmless, it's not my place to decide what's harmless and what isn't. So.
From seeing him at D&E Pizza.
Okay, and you say you've seen him at D&E Pizza in what capacity?
I think he's the owner there at D&E Pizza, and we've gotten pizza there before.
And you've been in that establishment before?
Correct.
And with regard to Brian Albert, have you had any interaction with him, either that night or before?
So that night, I was introduced to him, and I think I even spoke to him a little bit there, and then maybe saw him like a basketball game. I don't remember him really prior to that night.
Okay. Now, I'd like to play the portion of the video where you are then leaving and ask you some questions about that. Yes, I think we can zoom out and perhaps hit play, Mr. Wolk, at this point. And pause for a sec. If you could use the pointer and just point out again where you are at this point.
That is me.
All right. And are you able to see Karen at that point?
She's right there.
Okay. And what about Jen McCabe? Are you able to see her at that point?
Interesting.
I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. Continue to play, please. And stop for a second. I should have asked you, if you do see Jennifer McCabe enter the picture, could you alert us?
Okay.
Continue to play.
I mean, Brian Higgins is easily the most likely third-party culprit in the sense of evidence. When it comes to evidence, dude, like the timeline, his lies, this footage, his text messages, the motive, all of it is there. He's a decorated dude, but he's a dirty decorated dude.
When you can turn the lights back on. When you were leaving the establishment, whom did you leave with?
So again, it was myself, Jennifer McCabe, and Karen.
Did anything unusual occur when you were leaving?
So as we were leaving, Jen went over to Karen, kind of put her arm around her, and she started saying, "You're coming with me, you're coming with me." And Karen's like, "Huh? Like, what? Like, where are we going?" And
I'm going to sustain the objection.
Why?
The first part of that answer,
Why?
the putting her arm around her, "You're coming with me." Why did that stand out in your memory?
Why was this sustained?
Just because I was there too, and it just was strange. It was just like, "You're coming with me." Like, it was just something that stood out to me.
You weren't included.
I mean, no, it's fine. I mean, it was just stood out, you know? Yeah.
Did Karen?
Okay, so, I mean, that's going to stand out to anybody. Like, if there's little fucking secrets going on and shit. You know what I mean? Like, you're in a social situation. It's just it's natural. You're in a social situation, and it's just natural that your antennas go up as soon as somebody grabs somebody else and goes, "You're coming with me." Now, immediately, I'm like, bro, all right, damn it. Jen's the one who has the cocaine.
Yes! I like it.
Immediately, that's where my mind goes if I'm at the bar. But that's just, that's just where my mind goes if I'm at the bar and I see that happen, because I haven't always been an angel. Okay. But it's still weird. It's shady. You're coming with me. Come here. It's actually more shady if you don't come to that conclusion, because that's the most logical conclusion when you're at the bar and somebody grabs somebody and says, "Hey, you're coming with me." That's the most logical explanation. Other than that, you're going to be baffled. So of course it's going to stand out in your mind. And she's a pharmacist. I don't know. I don't know. But it sounds like she's being honest and saying, yeah, it stood out. It's kind of weird. And yeah, because I wasn't included, it's my antennas went up. Sure. It stood out.
Karen go with Jen McCabe?
Dude, I'm gonna start fucking kicking motherfuckers out of here who keep talking about the swinger theory, dude. Stop it. It's the stupidest shit ever. It is just plain dumb. Like, everybody keeps with this fucking swinger shit, dude. Like, that the McAlberts are a bunch of swingers and they all fuck each other. That incestuous shit is fucking gross, bro. None of those dude, has anybody here seen Jill Daniels? Has anybody seen Jill Daniels? Thank you, Petty Paralegal. No. I forgot it already. Well, no, actually, I can read it. Hold on. Kolakithis. Anyway. Dude, the swinger thing is just fucking stupid, dude. These people are not fucking each other. Nobody's fucking those people, not even each other. Nobody's fucking those people, dude. Okay? Have you seen Jill Daniels? There's nobody putting their penis inside her, dude. It is not happening. There's nobody. None of those people. Dude, the look. Dude, did you see what Nicole Albert looked like, Coco, on the stand, the last trial, dude? Like, that woman is not sexually satisfied. That is not a sexually vibrant woman. Swingers are sexually vibrant people. Their sexuality makes them generally vibrant. You know what I'm saying? These are people who do not get laid. I'm trying to tell you. they scream no sex. Okay? Like, it is naive to think that it's not even naive, it's just plain crazy. It's stupid. Sit here and entertain the swinger theory. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous, dude. Nobody's fucking these people, bro. Have you looked at Chris Albert? You think this guy is that guy is, if anything, paying for sex. There's no way that anybody's fucking anybody in that group of people, dude. Like, they did it, they had their kids, and now life has beaten the shit out of all of them, and none of them they're just like, they look at each other, they're gross, they got to fucking listen to each other fart and smell it. They're not interested in fucking each other, dude. That is not how real life works. You guys need to fucking grow up. Stop with that shit. It's ridiculous.
No, she did not.
What did you see her do?
So then, out of the clear blue, thinking that Karen was going to go with Jen, I see Karen with John.
And where did you see Karen with John?
I saw them just I was parked across Washington Street, across from the restaurant, and I just saw Karen and John like walking down towards what used to be Amber Road, a place.
It used to be Amber Road?
It used to be Amber Road, yeah.
Is that a Amber Road cafe?
Correct. It was like a restaurant. It was like a little cafe shop.
And did you figure out why they were walking in that direction?
Dude, if Jen McCabe like was still sexually active, bro, like having been the prettiest girl in high school, right? Dude, she would not look like how she does right now. That is nobody is fucking her, dude. Nobody's fucking any of those people, dude. They're not fucking each other. They have the look of people who don't want to be touched and don't touch anybody, dude. Like, it's on their faces. You just see it on their faces. There's contempt for life. It's just that's not Jen McCabe would have kept herself up. You know what I'm saying? She would have kept herself up. She would look still, you know what I'm saying? She would not be this horrible, sad sack of fucking evil that we just see fucking just blah, sitting on the stand and blah, you know what I mean? That is not the disposition of somebody who is satisfied sexually in their everyday life, dude. And swingers are satisfied sexually in their everyday life. That's the whole point of being a fucking swinger, dude, is to make sure that you're sexually satisfied in your everyday fucking life. That is the whole point. So that you don't sit there in a fucking courthouse in front of the entire world going, ah, you know what I mean? Like, that's the whole point. So you don't look like that. It's so you don't feel like that. You don't look like that. That's the whole point. Swingers fucking take care of themselves, dude. You know what I'm saying? They want to look good. Like, you think Matt McCabe is come on, dude. Just picture Matt McCabe in that situation. You can't, bro. Imagine Matt McCabe, dude. Oh, well, you take my wife and I'll take yours. Oh, there's nothing sexy about that. There's nothing sexy going on in that shit, dude. There's nothing, you know what I mean? There's no, oh, I'll have a splash of Crystal Light. Nobody's lining up to suck this guy's dick, dude. That's not happening. Nobody wants to touch any of these people, dude. They don't want to touch each other. The swinger thing is the stupidest fucking theory I've ever heard.
That's where I think Karen had parked her car.
Did you have any concerns about Karen being able to drive that night?
I had talked to her all night, and I did not notice anything strange about her. Like, I didn't think anything of it.
And once you parted ways, where did you go?
I went in my car.
Y'all are all fucking, y'all are all grossed out.
Oh! Ew! Dude! What the fuck?
And what was your last image of seeing Karen and John that night?
It was just them walking towards the car.
If I may have a moment, Your Honor.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Brennan?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Was your last image of Karen and John, both of them walking to the car and Karen walking to the driver's side door of that car?
Correct.
That night, it was a celebratory mood.
Correct.
Everybody was getting along fine.
Yes, we were. Yes.
You were speaking to the defendant for some time.
Most of the time. Correct.
And you saw her at points hugging Jen McCabe.
Correct.
You knew John.
I did.
He was a kind man,
Very kind.
generous,
Very generous.
thoughtful,
Very thoughtful.
soft-spoken.
Yes.
That night was particularly different. He was extraordinarily proud and happy, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
And you could see him emote about his accomplishment that his daughter got into private school.
You could tell that it's disgusting her to hear this fucking weasel rat motherfucker talk about John O'Keefe like that.
Correct.
Did you talk to John that night?
I did.
No further questions. Thank you.
I mean,
All right, Ms. Kolakithis, you are all set.
Okay. Thank you.
So why don't I see counsel regarding scheduling?
now this was an excellent witness for the defense. It may not seem like it because there wasn't any fireworks or anything like that, but the interesting thing, the important thing here is that she served her purpose as a witness. Her purpose as a witness, and actually Spanky helped with it. Her purpose to be served as a witness was to show that there was everybody was in a good mood. Everybody was happy. The only person that wasn't was Brian Higgins, Chris Albert, Brian Albert. The three of them standing over there while everybody else is having a good time trying to figure out what the fuck is going on over there, if they're even aware of it. John is just sitting there and he's doing a jig. He's drinking a beer and he does a jig. That's what he does. So this was an excellent witness for the defense. An excellent witness. Excellent credibility. She's a pharmacist, has a great smile, nice disposition. And then she testifies, yeah, I like Karen. I wanted to see Karen. I was going to leave, and then when I saw Karen come in, I wanted to hang out with her. Like, if we hung out for an hour, we talked for like 50 of those minutes. We've talked for literally 90% of the time that I stayed later. Like, this was an excellent witness for the defense. Make no mistake about it. Just because nothing real exciting happened, which I beg to differ. I think it was actually very exciting that was the first time that footage was shown to the jury. And I'm curious. Now I want to see. Let me see real quick. Man, Twitter is on fire lately, bro. It's so wild. There's so much shit on Twitter right now. Dude, somebody posted this shit. Look at this. Look at this. What you order on Temu versus what it sent you. Oh my god, bro. Oh my god. I love the internet sometimes, dude. I just love the internet, dude. So like, yeah, what was I gonna go over? Funny stuff. Sorry, I just saw something there. Let me yeah, I need to go to YouTube. Because there was actually a great yeah, so this is here. Stop what you're doing right now and subscribe to this channel and like this video, please. And the beginning's a little hard to hear, but this is Turtle Boy walking out of court. Justice Served TV, Michael Bryant was outside and got this footage. So he's explaining to the press his interaction with Lucky. And he's saying that he introduced himself. He's saying that, hold on. I could kind of hear it. He was wondering why the police hadn't spoke with him. So the police hadn't spoken with him yet, and Turtle Boy just asked him, how come the police haven't spoken with you yet?
On my Twitter account, the world can see it. So it's completely baseless. There's no threats. I just wanted I think the bigger question is, why did a blogger, as Hank Brennan calls me, why did I get to speak with the plow driver before Michael Proctor did? Why was I more interested in what the eyewitness had to say than the police detective in charge of investigating?
Excellent question. Why was Turtle Boy more interested in what an eyewitness had to say than the lead investigator, Michael Proctor? That is the most important question to take out of all this shit. And I hope the jury does. I truly hope the jury does. Why? How does this blogger, I mean, if you're going to minimize him, then that shit looks even worse on Michael Proctor. You're going to minimize him and just call him a blogger. Well, then how did a blogger get to an eyewitness before the lead investigator did?
Thank you.
How you doing, man?
Mike, how are you, buddy?
Say hi.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you. How do you think Lucky did?
Oh, he's amazing, dude. He was a soldier. I mean,
Solid.
yeah, Lucky was amazing. He was like, he held up. He held his. I mean, Hank tried to rattle him, but he just held his composure, told the truth. He came across as extremely likable because he is. I mean, the thing about Lucky is he has every reason not to help Karen Reed. Like, he's known the McAlberts forever. So
right.
It was a breath of fresh air seeing how well he held up.
That's what we've been talking about. We're amazed that they're honest witnesses. So what the hell's going on here?
I know. That's the problem. That's the problem, is that we're surprised by that. But it's the fact that we are so shocked by Nicholas Barris.
Michael Bryant is legendary.
That represents a much bigger problem, in my opinion.
Yeah, Michael Bryant is legendary. So is Linda Kenny Bodden. They're amazing. They're live right now, actually.
I think the video speaks for itself. Happy, loving, affectionate, attention.
Do you think John and Brian Higgins were at odds? We see this angle of them looking at each other.
That way.
Okay, so they just asked Karen, do you think that John and Brian Higgins were at odds? And she's saying it appears that way.
Pick up on that though. I mean, you were with John all the night. Were they fighting?
I mean, the video speaks for itself, dude. Obviously, they weren't. He was kissing her forehead, and they were hugging, kissing all night, hanging out.
They were at each other's throats.
I was not paying attention, as you can see, if you watch the full length of the waterfall, which is our 2 trials. I was pretty much in that spot with Karina. We were there about 90 minutes.
So you didn't
in
notice
the same
that.
spot. I didn't pick up on it.
Have there been
Are
any
you still
sort of-
friendly with Karina? I have not seen Karina in person since last trial.
Are you happy tomorrow's off, or would you rather just go through?
I'm happy. We need to.
How do you feel about
get
the
work
defense's
done?
case? When do you think you'll wrap?
Very, very well, solid.
When do you think you'll wrap?
Tuesday, give or take. Tuesday. Thank you.
So they predict Tuesday.
You look
Me and
adorable,
Melanie
by
and
the way.
Bettero,
Yes, pregnancy
we
was-
predicted.
So how you doing?
Doing great, Michael. How
Oh,
are
look,
you?
it's Esty.
It was an
Yeah, we
awesome
predicted
day
like 2 to
today.
3 weeks.
Yes, Lucky held his own, man. He sure did. Yep, Brendan didn't do what he tends to try to do to other, witnesses, but Lucky has his truth on his side, and that's all he needed to do and focus on is just telling the truth. Yeah. Hank tried to get him on stuff, and his answer's nope, nope, nope.
Yep, unflappable and very likable.
Yep.
Unflappable and very likable.
Thank you, Michael.
All right. Yeah, there's a lot of support out there. The support out there is growing, which is great. It's great to see. I was really worried about that. Here's Scott McGinnis.
Great blazer.
And I love how Michael will leave the other press people and then just come hang out with the supporters.
And scene.
That's awesome, man. Way to go, Michael Bryant. All right, folks. I think that's going to be it for me, my friends. I had an excellent time with you guys, as I always do. I'm really grateful to be able to hang out with you guys. We had fun. Not a real exciting day in court, but it went well. This was a really good day for the defense. I think people are underestimating how well this was for the defense, personally. So I look forward to finding out what's going on tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe I'll stream it live. I don't know. Depends on how I'm feeling tomorrow. If not, at the very least, we'll do a recap, hang out. But man, it's it's nice, you guys, my McLeans, as I like to call you, coming and hanging out with me. It means a lot. So thank you guys so much. Anyways, guys, I'm wrapping this up. Thank you guys. Make sure to smash the like, subscribe if you're not already. Make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell so you know when I'm going live. And thank you for all the support. I really, 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 really appreciate that. And I love you very much. And we will do this again very soon, my friends.
Bang, bang.